You're on official Rob Brown lockdown. Yeah. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
The fan of skate.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Good to be with you. It is Thursday, right?
You had to look.
Okay.
You had to look to make sure it was Thursday.
Just making sure. My whole week got thrown in flux this weekend, you know? We were on Monday. We were off on Tuesday. We're back on Wednesday. It made Wednesday feel like Monday. It made Thursday feel like Tuesday.
This is Thursday. But yeah.
It feels like Tuesday.
It feels like Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's just thrown me off my game. I mean, I'm very rarely on my game, but.
So not to go inside or anything. So our normal Thursday thing's happening, right?
Yes, our normal Thursday things.
I'm not talking about me because I'll make mine happen.
I am talking about you.
I was talking about the other normal Thursday thing.
You can obviously you just play the sounder for Fight Club or doing the Fight Club. Like, could you imagine dropping? And I'm just like, no, forget that.
Yeah, actually, I can imagine. Not only can I imagine, I was left in the green room quite a bit for that before. So whatever. Thank you for dredging up those memories. No, I was talking about the other thing.
Do you need radiotherapy, Lonzo?
I need all kinds of therapy.
Just regular therapy?
No, I'm waiting for retirement, and then someone's getting a killer book out of this.
Can't wait. I hope I make it to a chapter that's not tragic.
Oh, no. You would be therapy on your own. So my thing was, the thing that normally happens this hour, is that thing happening since you now realized it was Thursday? Are you still trying? Do I need to spell it out? I mean, I can write it down or something. So that's a no. Okay. That's what I need. Hey, it's a confusing week. It really is.
We have got a lot to get to on the radio broadcast today. As we mentioned, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Coming up at 11:20 this morning, it's time for Fight Club. Great one.
By the way, just a quick thing. James on the stream, which you can watch on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter, says my ears are never ready for that. You know what? Neither are mine.
About a week ago, we ended the show. And, for those of you who watch the stream, ordinarily Lonzo and I stay on the stream for a couple of minutes after it's over, finishing up whatever conversations we didn't have, talking about whatever before we say goodbye. So we had to jump off the stream real quick. Because I had to go home and fix my air conditioner unit, which, by the way, is out again. So your boy, as soon as I get off the radio, will be sprinting out of here to go home and climb up into my 10,000-degree attic to drain out the pan and try to get that thing going again. Can't wait. So I had to run out of here. We jumped off the stream real quick, and when I closed it up, Lonzo, when I took off the headphones and I hit the and said to Lonzo, I genuinely didn't realize how loud that was when we're wearing headphones. Now I understand why everybody else on this side of the building hates me. I get it now.
Almost got myself there. So there's a thing that you hear about noise canceling headphones or nearly noise canceling. They're awesome. That's all I'm saying.
They're required.
Yeah, that's why even whilst Rob is doing a live read, I keep them on.
We got a big show lined up for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Fight Club coming up at 11:20 in about 36 minutes from now. We'll be joined by Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, to talk a little Carolina Panther football. We'll check in with Rashad as we are now inside of 3 weeks away from the beginning of Panther training camp, right up the road in our listening audience in Spartanburg, South Carolina, on the beautiful campus of Wofford. Can't wait for that. So we got Rashad coming up later in the program. We got Fight Club at 11:20, and then a myriad, since we're using big words today, a cornucopia of sports topics to discuss over the next, we'll call it 2 hours and 55 minutes of sports entertainment greatness.
Just want to apologize. There are many opportunities right there to use the cart wall, and it's not working. So,
yeah.
I mean, my timing was there, and it's
What?
Yeah, exactly.
What? It's gonna be a big day. Gonna be a big day. Kevin checked in, said, Rob, at least your teen son didn't invite friends who flushed paper towels in the toilet, stopping up the entire septic system. WTH, SMH, good morning anyway. Nope, yep, you're right. You're right.
Did they do that on purpose, or were,
it's teen sons are idiots. I used to be one. They don't know better. For the record, don't flush anything down the pooper that's not number one, number two, or toilet tickets. All right, that's it. Don't flush anything else down there. You'll regret it. Trust me, I've been there. I've done that. Anyway, oh, and by the way, since Roger hit us up and said use a shop vac, duct tape it to a drain pipe to make a good seal and vacuum the gunk out. Here's the problem. My attic, Zoe, I'm not exaggerating, is about that tall.
That would be like 3 feet.
Ballparking it.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So I have to.
I'm just explaining to the people on the radio because,
Let me tell you how this is going to work.
Radio.
Number one, and this is going to be a bad dude sentence. I don't own a shop vac. All right. I don't have one, which means that I got to go through the same process I used last time, which is that I got to scoot my tall and sturdy behind up into an attic that gives me about 3 foot of clearance.
I know some entity that has one that possibly might let you borrow it.
The other problem is with 3 foot of clearance.
We're like sitting in that entity.
Again, and I appreciate that.
They've got like a little one.
Again, 3 foot of clearance. So even if I get up there, then I have to drag whatever equipment I bring up there across a house worth of 3 foot of clearance, get it done. There's probably 100 pounds of water in there, then move it back. And oh, by the way, since it's in the roof, it's plywood on 2x4s. So I can only move so much weight at it's a problem.
So like you're going to be moving on a professional wrestling ring.
Basically.
Okay.
Except for, again, if I go through the plywood, I go through the roof. That's it. If I go through the plywood, I go through the roof.
I did that before. At my mom's house, my mom was living across the street. So we went upstairs to get a racetrack, by the way, and into the attic. And I stepped through the ceiling and my leg was hanging down and one of my friends had to pull me out. And so it was in a closet. So I covered it with a poster thinking she would never notice.
You put a poster on the roof?
On the ceiling. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. It almost worked.
I can tell you, if I go through the ceiling of the kitchen, I won't be here to do the show tomorrow because I'll be murdered. Yeah.
I fixed it.
Anyway,
that was the old timing, or was it?
Y'all don't care about any of that. Let's get to the sports.
I care because I don't want you to hurt yourself tomorrow because I would like you to be here on Friday. So would all of our fine listeners.
Fine listeners.
Yes,
indeed.
all of them.
Here's what we're getting to on the radio broadcast today. We're going to start today talking a little NBA. They announced back in April that this season would be the beginning of Adam Silver's in-season basketball tournament. It is going to involve the entire NBA. They will be organized into 6 groups. The winner of each group, after playing 4 games in that group, 2 home, 2 away, the group winners will then move into a knockout round. The final 4 will all travel to Las Vegas for the championship of the in-season NBA tournament. It's one of those things that in an ideal world, I think it's great. More basketball is always good. In a world that we live in, which is reality, I don't know how well it's going to run. Now, every player on the winning team is going to get a check for $500,000, which I would like to think inspires the teams to try. But they've also come up with one other way to kind of, invest in this, which is they are reducing the number of games in the regular season down to for the teams that make it into the knockout round. You'll go from 82 games down to 2, and your knockout round games statistics will count. The problem here is, at the end of the day, the ultimate goal of an NBA team, and therefore the NBA players on it, is to win a championship. And unless you find a way to create a world in which the basketball players themselves view the in-season tournament championship as a championship that is equivalent to the NBA championship, I just don't know how you're going to get guys to invest in the in-season tournament the same way. We'll talk about that later on in the radio broadcast. We have got drama between San Diego State and the Mountain West Conference that continues to grow. We told you a little bit about it yesterday. We'll get into the what and why later on today. The Mountain West Conference says that San Diego State has left their conference and are holding out on paying them millions of dollars that is being distributed to Mountain West members. San Diego State says they did not leave the conference and they want that cheddar. We'll talk about the drama going on there and what it means for the Pac-12, the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, and the and the SEC, all coming up here in just a little bit. How about a little baseball? 25%, baby! Which means I can get away with 2 baseball segments a day, effectively. A baseball segment and a half. Higher level math is tough. The Atlanta Braves still have not reached the plateau of a 10-win streak. There are 2 teams that have done so this year. The Tampa Bay Rays did it earlier in the year. The Cincinnati Reds got to 12 before the Atlanta Braves ended that streak. The Braves got to 9 and then dropped 1. They then went back and got a dub yesterday. But I'm really intrigued at what it looks like for a team when they have unexpected competition. And right now the Braves have unexpected competition. Why? Because the Miami Marlins currently have the second best record in the National League. In fact, they have a better record than every team in the NL West and every team in the NL Central. In fact, the Miami Marlins would be leading any other NL division. The only one they would not be leading is the one they're in, where the Braves are up 7 games. But the Marlins won't go away. The Phillies and the Mets, who have stunk, are watching the August 1st trade deadline with great intensity and will likely be spending some money to get better. So we're going to take a little second half of the season prognostication as we are just a couple of days away from the beginning of the All-Star break. We'll talk about that later on in the radio broadcast. I want to talk, and this is a sentence I don't think I've ever said before. I want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons today. I want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons in 2 parts, the run game and the pass game. And here's why. We're going to talk, obviously, Panther football coming up here in about half an hour with Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast. And we have mentioned a number of times on this show that the New Orleans Saints are the Vegas favorites right now to win the division. Carolina is 2nd, Atlanta 3rd, Tampa is 4th. I want to talk about Atlanta as the wild card in this division. I want to talk about a couple of things that I saw when I was taking a look up and down at some of the Atlanta beat writers covering the team through OTAs as they get set for training camp as well. And we are going to do that again in the second hour of the show. I know there's some Falcons fans in the audience, and we'll talk to you about your team. But I also want to talk about what Panther fans need to keep an eye on when it comes to Atlanta, who I believe is truly the wild card team of this division, the team that could throw a wrench into the NFC South as a whole. So we'll do that later on the show, specifically the two players that I think could very well be the reason Atlanta ends up kind of screwing stuff up a little bit. We got that later on in the radio broadcast. And now that we've had a couple of days to look at it in hindsight, I would like to spend just a couple of minutes evaluating the NASCAR race from Chicago this past weekend, right? Takes a couple of days for ratings to come in, takes a couple of days for numbers to come in, and now they're in. And I want to talk about what it meant for not just that race, but for NASCAR as a whole moving forward, because I wonder if we're not on the verge of a renaissance for that sport. If we might see, as we have seen in the NFL, as we have seen in the NBA, as we have seen in MLB over the last handful of years, are we about to see a fundamental change at the core of NASCAR in the quest to up their ratings? And did Chicago kind of act as the trigger for that to be the case? We'll talk about that later on the show as well. We have got a busy show lined up for you today. If you want to be a part of it, you can do it. 844-FANFO and 844-326-3663. The text line is open for you right now at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo, one word, at The Fan Upstate. Let's get it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to get into that NBA in-season tournament. Is there any way this might pique the interest of those of you that are casual fans? Is this something that might give you a little bit of mid-season reinvigoration for the NBA? We'll talk about that coming up on the show. Then Rashad Beard. Second hour is all you. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, stream, what's up? How's everybody? Let's see. The shop vac idea, like, don't get me wrong, that was my initial thought, was get a shop vac up in the attic. Like I said, I've got about this much room and I go 6'3", 250. So it's just a matter of the logistics of being able to get it up there and back down, right? We tried that last time. There's just not a lot of room. So even if I get a little shop vac, it'll make the process go faster. I just don't know about having to move the shop back and forth from the unit to the door of the attic to dump it out. I don't know if that's going to be easier or more difficult than just doing it bucket by bucket. But we'll see. I'll take a look at it when I get up there. Get a shop vac from a Home Depot that attaches to a 5-gallon bucket. It'll work. I actually may go look at that. If I can get like a little shop vac that has an exit hose as opposed to storing it in the tank, then yeah, that might work. So I'll run to Home Depot after this.
That's one of the kinds I think we have here.
Is it?
I believe
if so. I might borrow it. If you stay in the attic for 30 minutes, you can have half a donut when you come down. Dude, I'm not kidding you. I lost 3 pounds of sweat last time I was up there. I'm not looking forward to it.
Especially deciding to go home and do it. Go home and do it at noon.
I don't have a choice.
I mean, yeah.
It's that or no air conditioner in the house until nighttime.
I gotcha.
So the options are I be hot in the attic for 45 minutes to an hour. Skrilla, if you are free, buddy, I mean, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Let me rephrase that. I don't know what needs to be done. I know I've got to drain that pan so that I can turn the AC unit back on without it ruining my ceiling. But if you have an idea of what needs to be done and you're free, man, I will happily pay you for your services. Shoot me a text, buddy.
Growing a business brings pressure. It's not easy to maintain momentum and still keep employees engaged. Fortunately, there's Insperity. Their scalable HR solutions help me with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance while giving my employees competitive benefit options. When my people are able to thrive, my business can adapt and prosper. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
And again, Skrilla, like, don't go out of your way for this, man. Don't if you're working or you're busy, whatever, man. I don't want you to change the game. My mom said, why don't you wait for the AC people to do it? That way you don't chance getting divorced before you get married.
So is it an old thing or just a man thing when you say, I can fix that?
For me, it's a dude thing, right? Like, there is nothing worse than having to admit you don't know how to do something mechanical. That being said, I might very well be watching all the YouTube videos today. I mean, I'll be an HVAC expert by the end of the day. What happened to the warranty people? Oh, Steven, it's a whole damn saga, buddy. It's a whole saga. Only person I have yelled at in the past year is the warranty company people who told us that they were literally told me they were fine with us being without AC for 3 days in South Carolina because of a protocol they have to follow. Unbelievable. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. It is so glad to have you with us. I'm Rob Brown, the great with Lonzo on the ones and twos. Phone line. What? Yeah. Phone line's open for you. Thanks, LA. 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. Text line's open at 71307. Start your text with fans. So, this NBA in-season tournament is set, and now we know the format of it. They announced it yesterday. Well, it leaked yesterday. They're going to announce it, I believe, Monday on television. The midseason tournament is something that Adam Silver has been hunting down for a very long time, and it looks like they have got the basic framework of the event lined up. The league will be divided into 6 pools of 5 teams apiece. The pools will be composed of teams from the same conference. Does not mean they will be based on divisions. On designated days during the first 6 weeks of the season, teams will play 4 group games. They will play each team in their pool one time with 2 games at home and 2 on the road. The winner of each of the 6 pools will advance to the single elimination stage along with 2 wildcard teams. They have not settled on the manner that the wildcard teams, or at least they have not announced the manner by which they will elect the wildcard teams. The semifinals and the finals will be played in Las Vegas. That's what we learned yesterday. The players on the winning team will receive $500,000 apiece. The NBA schedule, which will be released, is going to go down to only 80 games apiece for each team. The teams that do not advance to the knockout stage will have 2 more regular season games added to their schedule. That means that they will play 82. The 2 teams that reach the tournament finals will play 83 games. Now, I do have questions about how these games are going to be included in playoff seeding, right? Teams that make the finals are going to play 1 extra game. Does a championship appearance in this tournament change, right? Is it just a 1-game bonus to your record that can bump you from a 2 seed to a 1 seed or a 3 seed to a 2 seed? Hell, what if it is a massive underdog story won by a team very randomly that ends up not making the playoffs? Is this a guaranteed berth in the playoffs? I don't know any of that. I don't know if the NBA knows any of that. Now, here's what I will say. This type of tournament happens in European soccer all the time, and they are very well attended and very well beloved by fans. But I don't think that you're going to, out of the gate, have the same success for a couple of reasons. Number one, the tournament games are worked into 6 weeks over the course of the regular season. So they're just going to kind of be tossed in there here and there. It's not like you're just watching a tournament. You're going to tune into Inside the NBA on TNT. They're going to be like, okay, tonight we have this game. It's a tournament game, right? Not a regular season game. It's a tournament game. Then you're going to tune in for the championship game, which I don't know how that whole process is going to work out. The semifinals and finals played in Vegas. But you're going to tune into the championship game. And I guess my question here is going to be, are fans really going to care? And I hope the answer is yes. I think it's got the potential to be really exciting. I'm here for teams playing for hardware. The winners get $500,000 per player for winning. I'm assuming there's going to be a bonus tossed in there for the coaches as well. But is that enough to get the best basketball out of the teams?
All right. So did I hear you right? So it's not a tournament. They're just calling it a tournament. So they'll just pick certain games and go, that was your tournament game?
No, they will have a schedule of the tournament games, and it'll be worked into your regular season schedule.
But will it be like in a row or just like?
No, they're going to be. Oh, it's over the course of 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's not a tournament.
I mean, it is a tournament because you are still. In fact, it is the same format as, say, a World Cup tournament, right? 6 pools of 5 teams apiece. They're all going to play the other 4 teams in their.
But they don't play any other games in between.
So this is a European soccer model where they do exactly this. So there will be a tournament taking place where the games in that tournament are scattered in between the regular season games of, for instance, the English Premier League.
All right. So that bothers me because that's not a tournament. It's not really a tournament. It's just like, okay, we're going to go, that game's a tournament game. That game's a tournament game. Just because you're playing someone in your division, it's not really a tournament game. Because it's not, I think it has to be in a row.
These are games that, so they're taking the schedule from 82 down
so
to 80.
you're expecting all of us who are not big soccer fans to automatically follow and go, oh yeah, I get it.
No, I'm asking if you will. That's the point of what I'm asking. Here.
Obviously I'm not, I don't like it. And I have another question. So what happens about load management? What if one of the stars goes, yeah, I know it's a tournament game, but I'm due for load management that day. I'm not playing.
You're a brilliant man, Lonzo, because that's quite literally what I have written
because
down.
That would show how unimportant the tournament is to the players. If they go, yeah, whatever, I'm scheduled to be off. I don't care. This tournament doesn't mean anything. I'm taking my load management day off.
So that is quite literally one of the questions that I had written down is, let's say that we're 3 weeks into the season and the Lakers have a tournament game coming up in midweek. And they're playing, I don't know, another decent team out of the West. They got a game against the Nuggets in the tournament. And Braun looks and he goes, all right, I can take off this game. Now, they tried to offset that by saying we're going to make the regular season 80 games instead of 82. If you make it to the knockout stage, the single elimination knockout stage, which will be the 6 pool winners plus 2 wild cards. If you make it to that, your regular season games will still total 80. If you do not make it to the knockout round, we are adding 2 more regular season games, which means load management wise, if you don't play in a tournament game, right, you load manage a tournament game, and you don't make it out, your team is going to play 2 more regular season games, and they are going to play it at the very end of the season where you are going to be fighting for a playoff spot, right? So that I think the point was to try to offset that a little bit, to try to get guys to play. There's also the $500,000 per player incentive to win this thing. Right? Even if you don't care about the trophy, I don't care if you're making $10 million a year, $500,000 on top of your salary, it's still $500,000. So I don't know that is going to be enough incentive for an NBA player. And hey, look, we can sit here as people who, and this may shock you, this may disturb you. Lonzo and I do not make $500,000 a year. So if they
it's not like we don't want to,
right?
Because we definitely want. I want to make more than that. So does Rob, but we don't.
Lonzo, if they came to us today and said, "Hey, we'd like you to do an extra 4 days of work, and for it, if you win the best show in the Upstate Award, we'll give you a $500,000 bonus," you and I would sign that immediately. No reservations.
You say work an extra 4 days? I don't know how I can do that.
The players who aren't LeBron, Jokic, Trey, KD, Jalen, those cats are going to be all in because $500,000 is a lot of money. It's the superstars that I wonder if this is going to is pump. And honestly, I don't know that we're going to know until these tournament games start up. Does it have the potential to increase some interestingness for fans? I'd say the potential is there. And like I said, I can base that on the in-season European tournaments that take place in soccer, right? Those things sell out stadiums. Winning an in-season tournament is a mark of accomplishment. It is celebrated by European soccer fans. But that's their tradition. It's not ours. Because the fans there love it doesn't mean that fans here specifically will, primarily because it's new. It's brand new. And I just don't know if the NBA is going to be able to figure out a way to get players to look at it and go, not players, to get superstars to look at it and go, not only do I want to make sure I'm playing in tournament games specifically, I want to make sure I am busting it to win this tournament because of prestige, money, honor. Do you create maybe a tournament game win is worth 2 wins on your standing, so it puts you closer to the playoffs for your team. I don't know how you do it or if the NBA is willing to go that far, but I think you got to do something to make it where it's not just tournament prestige, because that takes time. Prestige takes time to build, right?
Welcome to the NBA on the Fan Upstate. It says right here that this is a tournament game. Wow, didn't know that. Moving on to the game.
Again, prestige doesn't happen just by saying it's prestigious.
No, you want a tournament, you do it during All-Star weekend, or you pick a weekend and do an actual tournament. You don't spread it out through 6 weeks, and the only way that people know it's a tournament is because the announcer tells you.
Well, it's not just going to be the announcer when you tune into the game that night goes, oh, by the way, this is a tournament game. Like, they're going to announce the tournament game schedule before the season starts. They're not just going to circle random games on the calendar and go, this is tournament.
See, I think they are going to circle random. I think that's how they're going to pick it.
I'm telling you they're not. Like, it's a fact. They are not doing that. They will announce the tournament schedule within the regular season. The
perception, I believe, will be my perception is that most people will go, okay, why is this a tournament game?
Right, but I'm fine, but that's wrong, right?
But okay, it may very well be, but if you have to go through a lengthy explanation explaining why it's a tournament, people are not going to get that it's a tournament.
Well, and I guess this is one of the times where I'm going to come across as my haughty intellectual self. Been a minute since we called.
Yeah, it has. I don't.
Here's the thing.
I must be doing well because I haven't gotten one of these in a while.
Before the season begins, the NBA is going to put out, this is the tournament schedule. These are the games we are adding to the season as tournament games. If you don't want to look at that schedule and just believe that they're picking random games, that's you. I can't help you. I will literally have the schedule for the tournament games before the season starts.
It's a work, Rob. You cannot convince me otherwise.
I know I can't, but I'm trying to convince our dear listeners. I like the idea. I love the idea. I think an in-season tournament can be very interesting, but again, they have got to have some level of prestige, and I don't know how. I mean, I do know how you build prestige. You only build prestige by convincing the best players in the league that they want to be a part of this. That's the problem, right? $500,000 to the winning team, great. If a team goes out and they lose their first 2 games in pool play, they're likely not winning that pool. So do they just quit? I don't know. How do you create enough intrigue by the players? All right, we got to run to a break because we got Rashad Beard coming up in the next segment. Rashad's the host of the Panther Nation podcast. He will join us, and we will talk a little silver and blue football as we get set for training camp at Wofford in just a couple of weeks. That's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give me 30 seconds while we get Rashad plugged up. We will be right back.
We want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, strip lining is some wavy.
All right. I don't need some theater applause. Give me some real applause.
You got Rashad in queue.
Yes.
What's up, big fella?
What's up? What's up?
How you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there.
Love it.
Oh, that's for me?
Absolutely, that's for you. I like that one better.
Your home is the place where you know your loved ones are secure. But the things that keep your home protected can't keep pests at bay. That's where Raid comes in. For 60 years, Raid's scientists have worked to protect people around the world with trusted research, ingredients, testing.
We finally have a cart wall thing where I can play some sound, so I'm trying to find some other stuff.
Ooh, how about this idea from Joseph? What if the team that wins the tournament gets to, and it's like a big ask. What if the team that wins the tournament gets to have a free home court advantage card for any series they want to use it for in the playoffs?
Yeah, but didn't they already do that in like the All-Star game for baseball?
Yeah, they did in
and
baseball,
people
and it didn't work. But I'm
complain
saying
about
for not the championship series, one series. If you're the away team, you can flip it and be the home team. You can go, nope, we want to use it. We're the home team now.
I still say, do the NBA players care if it's?
That's the only question. You got to
tournament?
get them in.
Yeah.
If you can get them in, this will be great. If you can't, it won't.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday. Means it's time to talk a little Carolina Panther football with my guy, Rashad Beard, is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC, but more importantly, make sure that you are subscribed to the Panther Nation podcast on YouTube. Rashad, what's up, fella?
What's going on? Hey, was that LA Night?
Yeah! Yeah!
Let me
Lonzo
talk
got
to
it.
you.
Lonzo's got a new toy, and we use it all the time. We got that. We got a little Stone Cold. What? Oh yeah, we're. It turns out we just like to have a good time here, Rashad. That's all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Rashad Beard joining us here on the show to talk a little Panther football as we're inside of 3 weeks away from training camp over at Wofford in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We'll be doing a live show there. Rashad's going to be down there as well, and we're going to tell you a little bit about an event that the Panther Nation podcast is going to be throwing that we will be in attendance for later on in the segment. But let's talk a little football, Rashad. And I wanted to start with, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but The Athletic did surveys of all the NFL teams, including obviously the Carolina Panthers. And they asked a bunch of questions of Panther fans. And the fans are quite optimistic. In fact, one of the questions that got asked was, do you see the Panthers making the Super Bowl in the next 5 years? And it was like 80% of fans said yes, Rashad. So I'll ask you in two parts. A, is it overly optimistic to believe that when you and I have both said there's still a lot of work that needs to be done? And B, are you in that number?
Yeah. I mean, like there is definitely some work that needs to be done, but I mean, the optimism right now and the survey definitely portrays that it's through the roof. Like we've got a quarterback now. The coaching staff is great. We talked about it at length with the coaching staff and the new quarterback. Like we're heading in the right direction, and I'm definitely excited. I can definitely see in the next 5 years the Carolina Panthers breaching the Super Bowl. Maybe not winning it. Maybe we're getting there. I don't know, but the best thing right now is that we're heading in that direction and we can see it. And I think that optimism is through the roof. And I did not see the survey, but I definitely feel that way 1,000%.
One of the questions was, what is your confidence level in the coaching staff under Frank Reich? And the confidence level in Frank Reich's staff was through the moon, right? Which sure, I don't have a problem with that, especially considering the coaching staff you just left behind. Instead of asking you, do you have faith in Frank Reich? Let me ask you this. Based on what you've seen so far, from the hiring up to the draft, through OTAs, what are the attributes that you would give to Frank Reich that have inspired confidence in you, if that's happened so far?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that there's a plan in place. I think that the fact that they put a plan in place, they've executed it, it appears that everybody's on the same page. You listen to the players and how the players are reacting to the new head coach, and the fact that there is no guessing. We've heard multiple people, Adam Thielen, Tommy Tremble, even Teddy Bridgewater, when he was here, talk about the prior coaching staff and how there was really no plan, like they were flying by the seat of their pants. And to me, so far, and again, we have not seen X's and O's from a game. We have not seen the adjustments that need to be made during halftime. We have not seen a real game yet. So it's really difficult to kind of say I'm 1,000% in. But so far, from everything I've seen, from what we've heard, the obvious common sense moves of making Bryce Young the starter during OTAs instead of waiting until training. Those type things just read common sense. And that's what we've been waiting to see around here for the past 3 or 4 years when the other guy was here. Just common sense things. And so, again, I'm looking forward to see it during training camp. I'm looking forward to see it during the game. All we're going to win from an X's and O's standpoint. But right now, yeah, I'm absolutely happy with what we've seen from the coaching staff.
Can I tell you how much I love referring to the other guy as the other guy and not even calling him by his name?
Can't say his name, man.
The Voldemort of the NFL. I love it. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. You know, we've spent the last couple of times we've been together, Rashad, talking about what the Panthers need to do in order to kind of round out this team. Wide receiver has been a spot that we've mentioned a number of times. And I had somebody call the show, I think last Friday after we had done the interview with you on Thursday, and bring up Jonathan Mingo, right? This is a guy Carolina drafted. There's a lot of analysts who said he was a reach. I'm not one of them. I love this kid. What did we see out of John Mingo in OTAs? What do you want to see out of John Mingo in training camp that would maybe settle you a little bit as far as going, okay, maybe this kid can, because I think he's got the potential to be, if you'll pardon the reference, Michael Thomas-esque. He's got the size. He's got the physicality. He can kind of be that X-factor wide receiver, a slant god, as they love to call MT13. Have you seen anything out of him that leads you to believe, hey, maybe we already got that guy on the roster?
Hey, man, you may call Michael Thomas slant guy. We call him slant boy over here because that's what all he does is just run slants. But I digress. Anyway.
I'm sorry you don't like when something works and you go back to something that works, Rashad. That's fine.
Oh, man. Yeah, shout out to Michael Thomas, man. Great player when he's on the field and playing. But anyway, listen, with Mingo, I think Mingo is more of a longer-term project. I don't expect Mingo to come out there and be blazing trails day one in training camp. I think it's going to take some time for him to come along. And I think I can see why people want us to go out and get another wide receiver. I think it's the biggest question mark. I think it's the biggest boom or bust position that we have on the roster right now. Like you look at the potential in Thielen, Chark, if he's on the field, TMJ, all these guys, we're just waiting to see that what if. But Mingo, I think he has the capability. And again, I think he's get the comparisons to AJ Brown, even Michael Thomas. I think he has that capability. He's a bigger guy. He's going to be able to block. He's going to get on the field. I don't expect him to put up monster numbers, maybe a 200 to 300 yard season, maybe 400 yard season if he kind of, takes it over the top. But we'll see. I don't expect him to come out there, like I said, week one and just, be the guy. It's going to take some time for Mingo to get out there.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. They are on YouTube and putting out new content constantly. Let's start looking ahead to training camp over at Wofford in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The good news, and I don't want to make this about Bryce Young, but really the offense as a whole. The good news is BY seems to have got a really good grasp of the playbook, which kind of puts you ahead for training camp, because it's not going to be where the first week's got to be installation. I mean, it's already installed from what we can tell. So those first 3-4 days of training camp, after the vets show back up, the rookies have worked out a few times, the vets show up. What's that look like to you? What will make you comfortable when we're sitting in the stands at Wofford watching the team install stuff? What's going to make you feel confident that this team's on the right trajectory?
Yeah, what I'm looking to see from Bryce Young is that I need to see him under some pressure, like some real pressure. Like I know they're not going to be hitting, or they will be hitting at some point, but they haven't hit yet. And so we haven't seen the pass rush really pin their ears back. And I want to see how the offensive line holds up. And I really want to see Bryce Young's pocket presence go to work, because we've seen it in Alabama. We've seen him kind of be able to escape. But that's what I'm looking forward to. Can he keep his eyes upfield? Is he going to continue to do what he's done in college? Is that going to translate to the NFL? That's what I want to see. Because right now, listen, Bryce Young, he is a cerebral assassin. Right now, what he's doing, he's going to work. Okay, he's going to work. He's putting in work. He's not out here at white parties like CJ Stroud. Okay, he's out here putting in work. Okay, he's getting together. I got a video coming out probably after this maybe 11, 12 o'clock, maybe drop around that time, about how Bryce Young is working with his receivers. They went off into this camp, and you saw Adam Thielen, TMJ. These guys are putting in work, some real work. So I'm
also looking forward to that.
To the wide receivers.
Go ahead. We lost you for just a second. Finish up. We lost him again. All right, we'll get Rashad back here in just a second. All right, I think the connection went bad, but I think we might have gotten it worked out. I don't know if you saw this, Rashad, and this is just a brief aside, but somebody threw up a picture of BY from the last couple of days getting some extra work in. Dude looks like he's put on some mass, man. Like, he looks like he's bulked up. An NFL strength and conditioning program is no joke, and it looks like he's taken full advantage, which I love, right? Like, those are the things that tell me he's got the drive to get it. It's not just go out there, learn the playbook, have it mastered, but it's get in the weight room, bulk up. The size is the question mark. That is something you can address to some degree, and it looks like he's doing just that.
Yeah, and I don't think he's taking over the top because we don't want him going out there looking like a whale, right? He's got to be able to carry that weight. I think he looked to me, and this is his eyeball. He looked to me like he was legit 205. Like, I know he said he was 205 at the combine. We knew that wasn't necessarily true. They were trying to fluff it up, but now he looks like a legit 205. I think he's going to continue to add a little bit of weight. And I love the fact that he's putting in that work. He definitely has put on some muscle. And again, he's going to have to do that. I mean, the NFL is not a game. I know we've seen him take some hits in college, but again, he's got to be able to kind of, sustain those. And I like what I see so far. Again, he's not out at white parties. Again, he's putting in that work. He's putting in work, and I love what I see out of Bryce.
Real quick before we cut him loose, Rashad Beard, I know that you guys are working on a little event that's going to take place in the Berg on Friday during training camp. You want to take a second to tell everybody about it?
Yeah. So we are hosting PNP and Friends. This is where we are getting together with a lot of other Panther content creators from YouTube, from the radio, from some beat writers and stuff like that. And we're raising money. Shout out to Main Street Pub. They have partnered with us, and they will be donating a portion of the drinks, the sales from drinks and food to Big Brothers United. So we're just doing a little philanthropic work, partying for, not really partying, but we're getting together and for might be a couple parties.
There it is. Don't lie.
You know how it is. It's a little bit. But
BY's not invited. I need him in the weight room, but me and you and Zoe, that's going down.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're just doing, partying for a cause. And the portion of the proceeds will go to Big Brothers United. Right now, we are sold out. Again, Main Street Pub, they can only hold so many people. So right now we're sold out, but it's going to be great. It's going to be a fun time.
Looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good one. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. Follow them on Twitter and check them out on YouTube by searching and subscribing to the Panther Nation podcast. PNP. Yeah. There it is.
Let me talk to him.
Yes. My God. See, nobody likes wrestling, Lonzo. Nobody likes it.
Yeah, I've heard that somewhere.
Nobody likes it.
I don't know where, but I heard it somewhere.
Rashad, you're the man, big fella. We'll talk to you next Thursday, dude.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Later on, that is Rashad Beard again on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. And make sure you search and subscribe to the Panther Nation podcast on YouTube. Yeah! We got to take a break. We'll come back. Hour number 2 is all you, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Greenville, what do you want to talk about? 71307. Start your text with fan. Give us, listen, I got plenty of stuff, but it's Thursday. I'm feeling good. What do you want to talk about, Greenville? 71307. Start your text with fan FAM. We'll address anything and everything that you want to get to coming up next. And if you don't text, I'll talk about NASCAR. I don't care. Bring it. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yeah! Coach who shall not be named. I don't think Rashad's that bitter about Matt Rule. Do you? I don't think he's that bitter.
I would say coaches, but I'm probably in the minority when it comes to that. But
debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
There's nothing worse than coming home from a hot day to find out that your AC unit isn't working. When this happens, you need an HVAC company you can trust. A company like Priority Heating and Air. Their HVAC specialists will give your system a thorough checkup. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of the Coleman line of HVAC systems. So keep your family or business cool this summer and give Priority Heating and Air a call today at 591-1847 or find them online at PriorityHeatingandAirHVAC.com.
Priority Heating and Air.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting a golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Golfers, summer is here, and there's no better way to get on the course than with the Upstate Golf Card. For just $99, you'll get access to premier Upstate courses like the Preserve at Verde, the Club at Brookstone, Carolina Springs, Greer Golf, Links at Tryon, and more. Grab your foursome and hit the course with the Upstate Golf Card. Order yours today at upstategolfcard.com. 9 rounds of golf for only $99. Get yours now while supplies last. Upstategolfcard.com. That's upstategolfcard.com.
This is Ben Ford, Travelers Rest Chief of Police. Join us at the free LEO Santa Christmas in July car show, July 29th from 5 to 9:30 p.m. at Trailblazer Park in Travelers Rest. Drop off a new unwrapped toy.
Hey, man. No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Maybe I misheard it.
Rashad's a pro.
Just checking. I was in the bathroom listening to the stream,
Yeah.
and it sounded like it was your second to last question because I heard the last question.
Is this before he cut off?
Yeah, no, it was yes, it was during the interview.
First break.
10-4. Our número dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fan Upstate. 844-326-3663. Text us, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. What are we going to call it if and when everybody moves over to Threads? No, you can, well, it's not like this wasn't going to come up, right?
Yeah, actually it is like it wasn't going to come up. But that's fine.
Threads is, I guess we've taken Zuck v. Musk out of the octagon and into the cybersphere.
Oh no, that thing is still happening. This was why that is happening, is because Zuckerberg was saying he was doing this. And that's when Elon Musk
was like, I want to fight you.
Yes. And so that's why this fight is going to, more on that in the Fight Club in the next hour.
If it's two, and we'll address this when we get there, but if it's two non-fighters, but they really don't like each other, right? Because I don't think there's anything in the world more important to Musk and Zuck than money. So if they're costing each other money at this point, does a fight between two non-fighters, but they genuinely hate each other, does it ramp up the interest a little bit?
There is a reason why we review fight videos on the stream sometimes.
Yeah, we do.
And some of them are not good. And which makes them entertaining. And if you've ever go all the way back to high school, for me, that's a long way back. But remember a couple of kids fight, usually girls fighting. There's not a lot of tact. There's not a lot of anything. It's just a lot of swinging.
Yeah.
And the more violent fights that I ever saw was between two girls.
Yeah.
I'm not implying that Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are, so don't go there, stream. But so a couple people with no fighting skills fighting each other and don't like each other, they're going to do just about anything. But these guys are being trained. So there's going to be some sort of rules obeyed.
I think the only thing that makes it more interesting, two dudes with no fight experience fighting might be slightly less entertaining than two guys with minimal fight experience, but an extraordinary amount of confidence in that minimal ability, right? Like I took a minimal amount of boxing from RJJ when I worked for him a number of years ago, but it's not like I roll up into the bar looking for a fight because I trained for a week and a half. You know what I mean?
But do you tell them, hey, before we fight, I trained with Roy Jones Jr. I just want it to be fair so you know what you're about to get into. Just to see if they go, oh, no, dude, never mind.
I don't know, man.
Or do they go, Roy who?
All right,
coming up. It's been a while.
Coming up in about an hour and 20 minutes, it'll be time for Fight Club. And I suspect this might make an appearance.
Do I think Threads will work? No, but it doesn't mean that it won't. All the people, I'm going to go somewhere else. There are other alternatives. There's only been a couple social media outlets that have died completely, like Facebook. Not Facebook, but MySpace. Although it still exists, just people just stopped using it. And
Tom got out right on time.
And yeah. I mean, he was in there at the beginning and then he got out at the end. And then like Vines, I mean, those disappeared, but they've been replaced by TikTok.
It's TikTok now, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, will Twitter die like some people want it to? I don't know. If it does, and we are required to go to another social media by our place of employment, I will go to that other place.
I'm trying to decide.
Facebook's still for friends and family. Twitter's for work.
I agree. I'm trying to decide, do I make the jump to Threads so that we're out ahead of the game, right? So like if, and I'm using if not when, if it does become commonplace for people to jump Twitter and move over to Threads.
But it also signals you're a hater of Twitter.
Not even
by jumping. I
No.
think the perception is if you, I found it because it's Twitter killer has been trending. That's what Threads is being labeled, Twitter killer.
Let me be clear about my stance on this thing. I obviously don't hate Twitter. I'm still on it every day.
And post quite often, by the way.
I don't hate Twitter. I do hate what is happening to Twitter, right?
The only thing I hate is the dogs and cats. Please stop. How many times do I have to block these things?
I don't hate Twitter. I hate what is happening to Twitter. I hate the rate limitations. I hate by the way, I'm saving
which
them all.
I still believe is a myth because I haven't seen it. So
you not seeing a thing doesn't make it a myth.
Yeah, well, it does to me.
I have seen it. It did happen. I have seen it. I've experienced it. It hasn't happened since then, but I also haven't been looking for it. I have also been busy after show and not just scrolling Twitter, though that is usually what I do. So we'll see. I hate the proliferation of bots on Twitter. That's not new. It just seems to be aggressively growing lately. There are concerns. And with Zuck, knowing full well the concerns and issues people have with Twitter right now, he basically, in starting this new Threads thing, can try to get it off the ground without those things being a problem. And I'm intrigued to see how that's going to go. So we'll see.
Well,
I just got to decide, am I jumping over early so the foundation is established in case there is a mass exodus from Twitter to Threads? We're already there. We're already established. We've already got our foundation going. But if I do that, I have to add yet another social media platform to monitor.
So what I'm seeing, and this may just be my feed amidst the puppies and kitties, are finally we have a place, and this are all the Democrat side people jumping over there, and then there are the other political people on the right going, good. If they're all leaving, we won't have to see their stuff anymore. I want to see both sides. I do, because that's how how do you win a war if there is a war? How do you win a fight if there is a fight? You got to know how the other side thinks. So if you're only looking at your stuff, you're going to get surprised by your opponent when they come at you because you have no idea what they're bringing. And I like a place where both sides are represented.
I'm interested. I'm keeping an eye on it. We'll find out. I told you guys this hour the show will address what you want to address. Text your thoughts to 71307. We've got a few that have come in so far, like this one that says, fan, I want y'all to talk about food or chemtrails. You know, those hot topic subjects. Dude, are you trying to tick Ray off? Are you trying to infuriate Ray? Because Ray is going to be stewing if we do that.
All right. I just looked. There are no chemtrails, so we can't talk about that. You can only talk about it when it's happening. I mean, because that's reporting of, present day. Right now, there's just some small fluffies out there.
If we look outside and see one in the next 5 minutes, Alonzo's going to lose his mind.
Okay.
Texter says, fan, talk about recent Buffalo Bills hate. Some people saying they won't make the playoffs. Hashtag Dunkaroo.
Kevin, welcome back. I saw you earlier. Now you're on the text line. Josh is not the flavor of the month, the year, whatever. He went downhill last year. They didn't do what they were supposed to do, and now Josh is just Josh. That's because some guy named Aaron came in, and now that's all they want to talk about is Aaron. They don't want to talk about Josh. And they also don't want to disrespect Patrick.
The Bills have some spots.
Have you noticed, though, the hype for Buffalo and for Josh Allen
has decreased dramatically.
It's almost completely disappeared.
Well, I'm not going to say completely.
That narrative failed, and I still believe there's one dude sitting in a corner somewhere that decides this is going to be the sports narrative for the year. We've decided this is our guy. He hasn't really stood out that much more than he did the year before. This is our guy. We're gonna build him up, and then when it doesn't happen, he's not our guy anymore. Who's our guy now?
I would like to point out Josh Allen is on the cover of Madden this year.
Josh.
So
Josh.
Let's not pretend like it's gone. I mean, it's still there. He's on the cover of Madden.
Well, I don't know. What is Vegas picking Buffalo to win their division?
Let's take a look at
or
the
are
odds.
they number 2?
Let's take a look at the odds and see where
Maybe
they stand
maybe
right
number 3.
I would go, if I'm top of your head, Lonzo, the Bills are first, second, or third in the Vegas odds. Take a stab at it.
I know I've been joking, but I'm still going to go with it. I'm still going to go with 2.
I am going to say, let's go to the NFL futures. I am going to say the Buffalo Bills are, I haven't pulled it up yet, favorites to win their division this year, despite the appearance of one Aaron Rodgers. They are favorites to win their division, and I'm going to say they are 4th in the Super Bowl odds right now.
Playoffs right now, if you had to pick between Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen, you going with Josh Allen? I'm not
going with Josh Allen over Aaron Rodgers. I am going with the Bills over the Jets.
Well,
the Jets
there
are
again,
still the
that's
Jets until they're not the Jets.
Don't change the question. I said, I mean,
you said Josh Allen over Aaron Rodgers,
right? And then you decide to add the team in there. I'm just talking about those two.
Well,
I'm talking about if you could pick a quarterback.
Play a playoff
You're
game.
right. You're right. They don't, but it's a hypothetical, which we do here and other shows don't. So if you had to pick between the two, you're going to pick Aaron Rodgers. You know why? Because he wins playoff games. You know what Josh Allen doesn't do? Win playoffs games.
I am going to go
At
with
least he doesn't win championship games, for sure.
If you ask me who I trust more in the postseason, I trust more in the postseason Aaron Rodgers as a player. But if you're asking me what team I think has a better chance within the playoffs,
Kansas City Chiefs.
It's the Buffalo Bills, who, by the way, Josh Allen did win a playoff game last year.
Yeah, he did. I know. I realize that, but he can't win a championship game. So, I mean, they're built to take down the Chiefs, and they, as of yet, can't do it in the playoffs.
The Buffalo Bills are currently T3 in Vegas Super Bowl odds.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
Chiefs,
Jets won. Oh, okay.
The Chiefs are plus 600. The Eagles are plus 700. The Bills and Niners are even at plus 800. Then it's the Bengals at plus 1,000. It's 14-1 for the Cowboys and the Jets. The Lions are 18-1. The Ravens 20-1. Jacksonville is 25-1, tied with the Dolphins.
I'm more shocked. Why is Dallas in there?
Yeah, dude.
Why? Well, why is Dallas in there? Jacksonville is not a shocker. They made it to the playoffs last year.
Jacksonville at 25-1 is a shocker.
Is it? What should it be?
Jacksonville with higher odds than the Dolphins is a shocker. Higher odds than the Seahawks is a shocker.
No, that's not a shocker.
It is to me. I mean, Seahawks
and
might have a bounce back year in.
Detroit's kind of high too, over a good ending to a year, even though they got spanked by the Panthers.
The Bills, by the way, are plus 450 to win the AFC. The only team with better odds are the Chiefs at plus 350.
So what you're saying is the hype is not dead. The overhype is, but the hype is still there.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's a great way to put it. I think the overhype is dead. I think the hype is still there. I think there's still a belief this team with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. Josh Allen can be good, and they've added some pieces.
The disgruntled Stephon Diggs, though. I mean,
that's
true. Has that been settled? Just because it's not out there right now, it was a couple weeks ago.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know that it's people have turned on the Bills. I think it's people for the last 3 years have been hearing, "Oh, it's Bills time, baby," and they just haven't made it out of the wild card round.
I think it's people who get their sports opinions from national sports radio who tells them this is the team, and so they think to be cool, okay, I'm going to talk about what national sports radio is saying is the guy and the team, and so they do that. So the overhype gets even bigger because that's what we're supposed to do. Or at least that's what they think they're supposed to do. And they built up a team, and that team couldn't live up to those expectations. So they threw them to the wayside. And now we got to see who they're going to come up with this. Although they're being awful positive about Kansas City. And I don't like that.
No, we need the disrespect back.
Absolutely.
The disrespect.
That's where the fire and the drive comes from, is the disrespect.
Texter said, is there a way for me to watch the Macho Man v. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat match? That's my question for Fight Club today. I've never seen it, and I've always wanted to. Signed, Dan the Muchacho Man.
Should be on Peacock.
It should be.
If
you
it
should be
was,
able to search.
if it
via
was
Peacock.
either a WCW or a WWE match, plus they have some other libraries from some lesser knowns. But you should be able to watch it.
That was WrestleMania 3.
Yeah, you can watch all the WrestleManias on Peacock.
That was WrestleMania 3, and you should be able to pull it up. Texas said, Rob, do you think the NASCAR street race was successful? I saw it had 4.3 million viewers, which was the most since the 2017 championship race. Yes, I think it was absolutely successful. And here's the good news. If you're NASCAR, it was successful despite the problems they had. They had a problem with rain. The track was wet in spots, dry in spots. Teams were having to figure. And listen, that's what makes it interesting to me, right? The whole debate over, do we go with slicks? Do we go with rain tires that have the groove? They slow you down but increase traction. Do we go with the slick tires, which speed you up, but if they hit a puddle, you're sliding? Like, that to me is what makes the sport and any individual race interesting, when those decisions have to be made by crews trying to figure out how the hell we win this race. And you can't argue with the numbers. It was the highest watch, the most viewed NBC race in half a decade, right? So I think it's inspiring when this race turned those numbers despite the problems like the rain, the problems like the fact that, not a problem to me, but the track was very narrow, right? And so when the track is narrow through stretches like it was, you lose out on passes, you lose out on pushes, you lose out on those type of things. And if you're watching for contact, if you're watching for wrecks, if you're watching for spins, it decreases that a little bit. Now, that to me is not bad. There is a balance to be found between the number of wrecks and spins that you have in a race versus making sure it's a good race first that involves wrecks and spins, as opposed to a demolition derby that somebody has to win, right? And I think they did a pretty good job finding that balance. So they've got, I believe, 3 more years of races with Chicago. They will probably run that track back. They will probably widen that track just a little bit. They will probably increase the size so that there's more actual racing down straights, etc. So there's a little more turn, a little more area in the turn, so you don't have traffic jam wrecks like you did at one point in that race. I think the good news is that you can take the things that went wrong in this race and expand on them, which means next year should be better. Now, there is one problem, which is next year it's not new. Next year it's not first time, right? First time. It's the first street race in NASCAR since like the early 60s. Certainly the first of the modern era. First time that these guys have seen this track. It won't be. They've all seen it once now. First time that these crews have had to adapt the car to a street race. It's not. They've now done it. They're also going to have an entire off season where they know this track will be back on the circuit to perfect. Now, I think that makes for a better race, right? But it does take away the intrigue of the chaos. So if you tune in just to see the chaos, and look, with 4.75 million people tuning in, you know a sizable chunk of them were tuning in to see chaos. The chaos is going to decrease and the quality of race will increase. But I think that as long as NASCAR has had the jokes made about it, go fast, turn left, right? I'm a NASCAR fan. I've heard that my whole life. Rob, why are you intrigued in this? It's not my whole life. Since I started watching NASCAR in college. Rob, it's go fast, turn left. Why would you be intrigued? Well, look at the success they've had at the Roval, a road course, at Sonoma, a road course. Look at the success they've had at the unique tracks, Daytona, Talladega, Pocono, etc., Martinsville, Bristol. I think people want variety. If we are lucky, the 1.5 mile cookie cutter ovals are going to go away because they're boring, all right? Even as a NASCAR fan, 1.5 mile cookie cutters are boring ass races. They always have been. So I would like to see NASCAR get to a point where we dump those. Sorry, We dump Atlanta. Hell, I'm sorry to say it, Charlotte's race is only interesting because it's 600 miles. It's only interesting because there's another, 70 laps on it over a normal race. It's a stamina race. That's the only reason that the 600 at Charlotte is interesting. The Roval is a much more interesting race to me. So I think that this Chicago race and the success that it had, if they make the adjustments. One texter just said, I didn't like the restart zone change to before the last corner. Right. Because, look, you don't get that full throttle acceleration into the start zone like you did. It's a restart zone, but they're on the brakes, right? I think they shift that around. They put that coming out of the corner, headed into the start finish line. I think that's now they've seen it. They can make that adjustment. The point is they got 4.75 million people to watch that race. The intrigue of the chaos, the intrigue of the ignorance of the track by the drivers because they've never driven it before is what made that race interesting. So how do you keep some level of chaos to make it intriguing, but also make it a quality race? You looked at the explosion in popularity of F1 in this country. It was because of the Netflix documentary series, which was admittedly very good. NASCAR can piggyback on that. They can look at what the F1's popularity, what they've used to grow F1's popularity in the States, and they can hitch on that. I'll tell you right now, if NASCAR doesn't start putting together a preseason and in-season documentary series like F1 did, they're missing the boat. Somebody is going to pay for that. Do it. And then make more Chicago races, not fewer. That's the way to do it. Texas said, I agree. They lost a lot in ticket sales from people watching in skyscrapers, and that's what I heard from a Chicago person. I'm sure they did, but here's the thing. It's not about ticket sales at the race. No sport is solely about ticket sales at the event. I've griped on this show a lot about the fact that there are weekday afternoon Braves games that are being shown on TBS, a nationally broadcasted channel that I can't watch because they're blacked out. That is because of local ticket sales. But MLB and the Atlanta Braves are still making fat stacks, or at least they were supposed to be from Bally Sports, et cetera, by showing them locally, right? NASCAR could have 0 people at the race if the television numbers are ridiculous. Them doing 4.75 mil on the TV, they don't care if every skyscraper in Chicago is filled with people looking down at the track. They care about are the eyes on the TV. And the answer is, for this race, they absolutely were. All right, we got a few more texts. Keep them coming. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. You guys dictate this hour. What do you want to talk about? What do y'all want to hear about? What do you want to discuss? 71307. Start your text with FAN. We'll address it all when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, I got a live read right here. Stay right there, and we will be right back.
talent and
All right, dudes and dudettes, we back.
stretched thin. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put over 35 years of HR service and technology to work, offering my employees competitive benefit options while lightening my HR load. Engaged people empowered to be their best means overcoming obstacles. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro, do it yourself.
Chris Lewis just came up with a great concept. You know, we made movies about Apollo Creed's son. The next Rocky movie needs to be about Ivan Drago's son, right? In which Dolph comes back. Ivan Drago was shamed by Russia for losing to Rocky. He moved to the United States. He renounced communism, became an American, and now Drago's kid is challenged by some Soviet dude. I would watch that movie in a heartbeat. Y'all, Chris Lewis, Doug Irwin, and myself just came on to the concept of the next Rocky movie, right? Texas said, when are you talking about the Falcons? I'm going to come to that here in just a second, but I got to get this out there. I'm going to float this. And when this movie gets picked up and made by Hollywood, all right? I want the royalties. Chris deserves the royalties. Doug deserves the royalties. Here's the movie. Here's the concept. You ready? After Ivan Drago loses to Rocky, he goes back to Russia and he's shamed for the rest of his life in Russia. So later in life, after being tired of years of ridicule and shame, he moves to the United States. He renounces communism. He renounces Russia. He moves to the U.S. In the process, he has a son. That son grows up not loving boxing, right? Because why would he? Boxing is what got Ivan Drago shamed for the back half of his life in Russia.
All right, I got to stop you because I thought so. I didn't see Creed 2, but Victor Drago was in Creed 2.
I didn't see Creed 2.
Yeah, he was in Creed 2. Victor Drago was the son of disgraced professional Soviet boxer Ivan Drago and his wife Ludmila Volbert Drago, born in the year 1990.
Okay. So that'd make him 33.
So he was actually in Creed 2.
See, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't see Creed 2. I saw the first one, liked it, enjoyed it. Did not see 2 or 3
I
yet.
thought that sounded familiar. And then, so I looked it up.
Ah, damn.
I saw bits and pieces of Creed 2.
All right, now I have to watch Creed 2 because if he's a redeemable character in Creed 2, we can still make this movie.
All right. He was his name is Florian Montagnol. It's German. I went French. Is a German-born Romanian actor who portrayed heavyweight boxer Victor Drago.
So I need to see.
You should look at the pictures.
I'm going to. I'm also going to. Now I'm going to have to watch Creed 2. So if he's a redeemable character in that movie, then you have a new Russian champ emerge and call him out, right? Your dad disgraced Russia, and now I'm going to disgrace you, and bang, there's your movie. The son of Drago. You just call it Drago. We'll just stay right there in the lane. You call it Drago. You have him fight a current Russian champ. We got to Hollywood. Are you listening? We've got new ideas. You don't need to keep remaking old movies. We've got you. All right. Texas said, when you talking about the Falcons? Sure. Right now. Why not?
Wait, why are we talking about the Falcons when we could still be talking about
Drago?
Drago, yeah.
Son of Ivan. Here's why. Vegas has the New Orleans Saints favored just over the Carolina Panthers to win the NFC South, which, by the way, is going to be, at its best, a very average division this year. I believe that.
The only way to go is up.
Yeah.
Because it was the worst division in football last year.
And it could be again this year. Let's be clear. All right. Tampa's going to be bad. I'll do a segment on this in another time, but my heart breaks for Baker Mayfield. Granted, he decided to sign with Tampa, but he also had limited opportunities to sign as a starter. We'll come to that later. Tampa's going to be bad. New Orleans is going to be average. Carolina is going to be average to slightly below average. The wild card here are the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons might not be an awful long shot bet as a division winner. I don't think the Falcons are going to win the division, but it might not be bad to drop a couple of dimes on them just in case. And the reason why is this. They have, first and foremost, and we've had Falcons fans trying to hammer me over the head with this since they drafted Bijan Robinson. The Falcons took Bijan Robinson and had the opportunity. In fact, we have seen it reported now multiple times. Had multiple opportunities to drop back. By the way, I said what I said. I have not looked at the odds in a while. Lonzo, DraftKings, FanDuel, PointsBet, and BetMGM all have the Falcons shorter odds than the Panthers to win the division now. DraftKings has the Saints at plus 120, the Falcons at plus 215.
Wait, who are the Falcons? Who's the Falcons quarterback?
Desmond Ridder.
Who's that?
Right. FanDuel has the Saints at plus 135, the Falcons at plus 220. BetMGM has the Saints at plus 125, the Falcons at plus 220. PointsBet has the Falcons at plus 120. The Saints at plus 220, the Falcons at plus 200. The Panthers, DraftKings plus 400, FanDuel plus 330, BetMGM plus 350, and PointsBet plus 400. The Falcons have gone all in on Bijan Robinson. They have established themselves at this point as what I think Lonzo believes the Panthers should be. A team that runs the ball probably 80% of the time. Bijan Robinson is going to be RB1. They've got Tyler Algier behind him as RB2 and Cordarrelle Patterson at RB3. That's a stout 1-2-3, guys. It really is. Now, you're looking at Desmond Ridder. They've got Taylor Heineke as their backup right now. I think the Heineke train has sailed. You're either going to live or die with Desmond Ridder.
No, chances are Heineke will be the starter. I mean, any team he's on, he becomes a starter at some point due to, I think, either the present starter not being good enough or injury. If you bring Heineke on your team, he's going to play. He's been on two other teams, and that's Washington and the Panthers. He played on both those teams.
I understand. If Taylor Heineke gets a nod, it's because the Falcons have tanked. Or because Desmond Ridder got hurt. Well, let's hope it's not that one, right? But it's not just that they're going to run the ball. It's that they've got as their third running back, Cordarrelle Patterson, a guy that's a number 2 on most teams. Now, all of this hinges on Bijan Robinson being the guy they drafted him to be. And they are all in on him being that guy. The Falcons could have, and in the eyes of most analysts, should have traded back into the middle to later end of the first round and stocked up draft picks to do it and let somebody else get Bijan Robinson. But they believe he's that dude. They have a quietly good offensive line, right? Like a top 10 offensive line. One texter just wrote in and said the O-line is already top 5. I think it's top 10. All right. I don't know if I'm ready to go top 5. I'll say top 10. Either way, you're in the top third of the league. So you got an offensive line that's very good, stacked in front of a running back core that goes 3 deep. Now, you do bump into one problem. The one problem you bump into is that you've got in my opinion, average to below average wide receiver core. Drake London, Matt Collins, Scotty Miller across the top. That is why I am looking at and saying the Falcons' success or failure this year rides on the mitts of Kyle Pitts. I didn't intend for that to rhyme, but I'm good at my job. I stumble into the good stuff.
Poetry just happens, man.
You either got it or you don't. Kyle Pitts is the guy that makes or breaks this season for the Atlanta Falcons. I think Atlanta's going to be able to run the ball. The problem is with the wide receiver core that you have and their ability to run the ball is that especially if I've got a good defensive backfield like Carolina does, like New Orleans does, I can stack the box. I'm going to go +1 on whatever running formation you come up with. You go 1 running back, I'm putting an extra man in the box. You come at me with 2 running backs, I'm putting 2 in the box. I'm going to have 1 more in the box than you have every single play because I don't trust your wide receivers. And that won't change until Kyle Pitts gets it done. Kyle Pitts has to be the guy. I looked yesterday at the rankings of tight ends according to Yahoo Sports. They have Kyle Pitts checking in their 3rd tier of quarterbacks. Now, to set that up, I don't love the list because tier 1 is Travis Kelce. That's the whole tier 1 for Yahoo Sports tight end rankings. It's just Travis Kelce. Everybody else is 2 or below. In tier 2, they've got Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson. In tier 3, they have got Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, and George Kittle. Now, to put Kyle Pitts in there with George Kittle, that's inspiring if we're being honest. All right? But it is up to Kyle Pitts whether or not he can be the guy. Now, projection-wise, I went and looked at tight end projections from a few different fantasy football sets. And Kyle Pitts is expected to produce around 7th in the league. 4for4 Sports has Kyle Pitts projected getting 122 fantasy points per game. They are projecting Kyle Pitts to have 61 grabs for 701 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 36 catches of first downs. 36 direct first downs credited to Kyle Pitts. I think that's low if the Falcons are going to be there at the end. Kyle Pitts has to be the guy for Atlanta this year. Kyle Pitts is the only thing that is going to keep defenses from stacking extra guys in the box, therefore taking away the run game. This, by the way, is the exact same criticism, or should I say analysis, that I have levied at the Carolina Panthers, right? Yes, you've built a good running back stable at Carolina. Atlanta's might be a little better. We'll find out. But you built a pretty good running back stable in Carolina. Here's the problem. Unless you got a vertical wide receiver that proves me he can stretch the field out, or unless Hayden Hurst is that dude, then if I'm New Orleans, if I'm Atlanta, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm stacking the box. You will not run the ball on me. If you're going to beat me, Bryce Young's going to have to do it. Atlanta, exact same defensive philosophy. I'm going to stack the box. However many you put in the box, I'm putting +1. You put 6 in the box, I'm putting 7. You put 7, I'm going 8. You put 8, I'm going 9. I will run 2 deep safeties and man coverage on the outside. The best way to beat that is with the tight end. And it's with the tight end that you have to be liable for in pass coverage. Kyle Pitts is that guy. And Kyle Pitts reminds me, if he breaks out, of Jimmy Graham. You remember how frustrating Jimmy Graham was for the New Orleans Saints if you were a defense lined up against him? Wildly. Jimmy Graham as a tight end had to be treated like a wide receiver because he was one.
Then he wanted to be paid like one.
Yes, he did.
He didn't get that.
And then he went to Seattle. He didn't have a quarterback or a coach who knew how to use him that way, and it created a problem for Jimmy Graham. I've said this a couple of times. Jimmy Graham could have been what Travis Kelce was before Travis Kelce was it. In fact, he was that in New Orleans with Drew Brees until he left. I need Kyle Pitts to be Jimmy Graham when he was in New Orleans, and I need him to be treated that way. He needs to be a tight end who is treated as a close wide receiver, as an interior wide receiver, as a threat. Why? Because I need to be able to move Kyle Pitts from the left tackle to the right tackle, from the right tackle to the slot, from the right slot to the left tackle, from the left slot to the right tackle, and I need him to be a threat no matter where he lines up because I need him to pull coverage to him. I need him to take an outside linebacker out of the box just by being there. I need an outside linebacker when the ball is snapped to Ritter. I need the outside linebacker to go eyes to Kyle Pitts and stay dialed in on him for a second, long enough for Ritter to get the ball to Robinson or Patterson or whoever else and let them start their run before the linebacker can build up momentum in that direction. If he doesn't do that, Kyle Pitts needs to be the guy. If Kyle Pitts looks, if Desmond Ritter looks and they go, okay, we got what we wanted. He's one-on-one on an outside backer. And they notice that that backer is still playing the run instead of acknowledging Kyle Pitts as a threat. I need Kyle Pitts to get 12, 13, 14 targets per game. If Pitts breaks out like that, Atlanta could sneaky steal this division away. But if Kyle Pitts is injured or unproductive, this division belongs to the New Orleans Saints and Carolina will jump Atlanta. It's that simple to me. Texas said Bijan Robinson will be used just like Christian McCaffrey. Good luck covering him in a run stop formation. Again, that's got to be part and parcel. But Kyle Pitts has got to be a part of that, just like Greg Olsen was for Carolina early in that in the career of Christian McCaffrey. Texas said, did you watch Pitts' rookie year? Ritter ain't Ryan, but he's half that Pitts is top-tier tight end. I agree. Kyle Pitts should be. And Texas said, if the Falcons don't win the division, I will buy both of you guys lunch. I accept on both of our behalf. Take a break. We're back after this to wrap up hour number 2. 71307. Next text with a topic. You dictate the next segment on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Where my stream people go? I see y'all watching, but where y'all at? Dukes is the best mayonnaise. Be right back. All right, dudes and dudettes.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Don't give in to that constant joint pain. Take back your quality of life and do it today with help from our friends at QC Kinetics.
Here's my question from that MJF gym segment he did with Adam Cole, baby.
All right, don't go into detail because we're going to be discussing it next.
I'm not going
hour.
into detail, but I do have a question about it, which is absolutely Fight Club material. Were those real weights? Because if so,
all right, that's going to be discussed in the Fight
good.
Club.
I'm just going to say, if those were real weights, that was 315 pounds that MJF repped out.
All right, so again, I'm not going to talk about it now because that's on my list to talk about.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I get that you and I think alike on a lot of the entertainment part. So, I mean, stop trying to steal my thunder.
Thank you.
It was weird that Rashad, I think he was overmodulating because I had him cranked up, but he was popping a bunch. And I think that may be what happened because sometimes overmodulation will cause it to digitize and drop out. I just wanted to sound smart.
You don't plan for a computer virus. You don't plan to lose files. You don't plan to knock your laptop off the counter. And you don't plan for your PC to crash or your screen to freeze. But Staples has a plan. A plan for unlimited virus protection. A plan for help when you need it 24/7. Staples Total Support Plans are your tech plans for the unplanned, starting as low as $199.99. And although you didn't plan for this, right now at Staples you can also get $250 off select computers. N729 in-store only. See associate for details.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post the job on ZipRecruiter.
According to TMZ Sports, Britney Spears slapped in face by NBA star Victor Wembanyama's security.
Oh, come on.
It's TMZ Sports, dude. I'm clicking on it. Britney was allegedly assaulted Wednesday night in Vegas after a member of the security backhanded her in face, and she has filed a police report.
I mean, if she got slapped, yeah.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
from the free Odyssey, CBS Sports Radio. The game on the Rob Brown Show.
This is sports related. I just want to point that out. This is sports related. I'm almost wanting to hit the breaking news sounder, but it.
TMZ Sports is reporting that one of Victor Wembanyama's security guards
Yes,
slapped Britney Spears. Now,
but actually, it's not. Okay, I'm talking about the security guard.
yeah,
So they were at a restaurant. Britney saw him and is a fan of Victor Wembanyama.
yep.
And went over. Brittany and company walked over to Catch, and as they were entering the restaurant, Catch is the name of the restaurant.
Okay.
Brittany spotted Victor. We're told she's a fan and went over to talk over to him to ask if they could take a photo together. She tapped him on his back, right shoulder, and we're told the director of team security for the San Antonio Spurs, the team that drafted Victor last month, instantly backhanded her, causing her to fall to the ground, knocking her glasses off.
I'm going to say
Brittany composed herself and went to her table. We're told the security guy came over to the table and apologized. He said, "You understand how it is when you're being swarmed by fans." He apologized and Brittany accepted it. But she filed a police report.
yeah, of course, she got slapped in the mouth.
And she was being swarmed by people too because
Sure.
she's
Britney
Britney Spears.
Spears.
Exactly. So
So we'll start with this. Tomorrow night, must-see TV. I don't say that about NBA preseason games, but tomorrow night, Lonzo, in Vegas, we got Spurs v. Hornets, Miller v. Wembanyama. The 1 versus 2 pick getting it on tomorrow night.
well, so how many fouls will Brandon Miller have? Another game, more fouls is my understanding. So
I'm very interested because I need to see that. All I'm looking for here is progression, right? I'm not looking for Brandon Miller to come out and be LeBron. I'm looking for Brandon Miller to show me that he's growing game by game, that we didn't waste the number 2 pick on the guy. But more importantly, how you going to slap Brittany? Brittany is American royalty, my friend.
Not just a slap, a backhand.
Yeah.
Man, that's different because you don't see that coming. It's just, yeah.
Like a slap, I could be like, all right, if you weren't paying attention and there's a swarm of people that are all trying to get to the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft the day before. Well, I guess, was this today or last night? Do we know?
I already got rid of the story, but I think it was last night.
Last night.
Yeah.
If you got a crowd of people trying to get up to Victor Wembanyama, the number 1 draft pick in the NBA draft, the guy that, NBA media believes is destined to be a superstar, Brittany is going to just look like another blonde in the crowd. And she's not. She's Britney Spears.
Wait. Brittany just looks like another blonde in the crowd. You're going to make people upset.
All right. Then I'll be the bad guy. I don't know how many of you have hung out with NBA players before. I have. And let me just tell you.
Okay, Stephen.
And I don't mean to say, I know NBA players personally. And I don't mean to be disrespectful or sexist. I simply say facts. They are followed by tens everywhere they go. Just tens everywhere.
So you weren't going to say tens of people. You're going to say tens
I'm
as
saying
in
women that are very attractive. All right.
From whence does that system come from? Where you look at it and go 5, well, she's a 7. She's when did that come about?
Does it come?
Yes. Where
look at
did that come
someone and
about?
go-
And why is that still a thing?
You look at someone and go, on a scale of 1 to I will gamble my bank account on it, I find her this attractive.
I get it.
Or him this attractive.
I get the scaling and all that. I understand it. But where did it come from and why is it still a thing? Because some of those things, I'm surprised in our society that's still allowed. You
Listen,
are close to being canceled,
people,
sir.
no, I'm not. And here's why. I've had this conversation. You can find people wildly attractive. You can even lust after people. Where you get in trouble is when you start harassing them because of it. You can look at someone and go, wow, that person is really attractive. I would like to do adult recreational things with them. Don't tell them that and keep your pants on. It's a real simple issue, right? So Victor is obviously going to be gonna have a lot of attractive women around him trying to go ahead and claim they spot on his bankroll. And I'm sorry, Brittany's going to fall into that crowd. That being said, when you go backhand, that's a problem. All right, we'll talk more about this.
You're about to get a backhand if you don't go to break.
Hey, you started the music late. It's not on me. Texas said the 0 to 2 scale. 0, no. 1 is while intoxicated. 2 is yes. That's fair. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
My bad. I wasn't even paying attention. I had no idea where we were. It's like, oh.
I have some level of responsibility there. Roger said, I'm not blonde. I have little hair, but Brittany isn't near as sexy as me.
You keep that confidence, Roger.
I'm telling you, bro.
The Final Four will be held in Las Vegas on December 7th and December 9th. More details set to come out on Saturday night on a program called NBA Today that will air in Las Vegas with special guests Adam Silver, Victor Wembanyama.
On a program called
Wembanyama and the Spurs are set to battle.
Talk about Brittany. Why are you not talking about it? It's big news, dude. TMZ just reported it.
Catcher Francisco Alvarez hitting a game-tying solo shot in the top of the ninth on the way to the Mets' 4th straight win. The Giants.
I'm curious if that security guard remains with the Spurs. That's not the reaction to have, even if it isn't Britney Spears.
No, you can't do that.
So anyone ever, my fault, girl. I didn't know it was you. And then just walk away and just Like, okay, yeah, you were gonna put you in jail.
If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. That's 800-210-1005.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free.
So I was at the baseball game yesterday,
In fact, ZipRecruiter
and
helps a lot of business owners find their needle.
I had a guy come up to me, and he goes, "I'm glad I saw the back of your jersey because I have my name on the back of my jersey." And he goes, "I wanted to tell you, I listen to your show every day. I love it. And you do a great job with the rabbits in the drive." And I said, "Thanks." And he goes, "But I have to tell you, man, like you need to keep the glasses on." And I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because that's how I recognize you, is the glasses." He's like, "I didn't see the glasses." And I'm like, "I can't tell if that's Rob Brown or not." So my question is, have I worked myself into a corner for recognizability that I have to always wear the thick frame glasses? And if I take them off, is that a Clark Kent effect?
You have made it part of your logo.
I have.
Right. So yes, you have worked your way in.
Obligated to, if I'm working, wear the glasses and go contacts if I'm
Clark
not,
Kent,
if I don't want to be recognized.
The Clark Kent thing does work
100%.
because if I have my hair down, I'm recognized. If I put my hair up and put my glasses on, I look like old grandpa. and I'm aware of this. And yeah, it definitely works. There have been times I'm like, is that Rob on TV or something?
Right.
And it's like, nah, no glasses. And then my wife is that Rob in that commercial? Yeah, that's him.
There's only one.
Yeah, well, she hadn't seen it yet.
So here's what I mean by this.
There's only one.
Do you recognize this person?
Looks familiar.
Of course. Does anybody on the stream recognize this person? I'm going to give you 5 more seconds because we're about to come back from break. This, ladies and gentlemen,
is Taylor Swift.
Is Zoe Deschanel without her bangs, right? That's Zoe sans bangs. I can't recognize Zoe Deschanel if she doesn't have bangs. That's her thing. She's just from New Girl when she has bangs, and she's generic.
She's also on
Hollywood
commercials right now
Correct.
with the bangs. She's like a fairy or something.
Because of the bangs.
Yeah.
Without the bangs, she's generic Hollywood actress C. With the bangs, she's Zoe Deschanel, noted movie and television star. I feel like I've reached that level with these glasses, fortunately or unfortunately. I mean, not like I'm as famous as Zoe Deschanel level, in terms of I didn't recognize you without the glasses.
I think the proper thing to say there was I said what I said, and you should have went with that because I know that's what you meant. You've reached that level of fame, at least around here. So.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking for You're So Vain. Yeah, I was trying to find You're So Vain.
This is more a conversation for the people who watch the stream.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We don't need to elaborate.
No, I'm going to now. You can't just drop why you were looking up that song.
Yeah, you can. You know why? It's called a tease, and then you say, "Hey, go back and watch this," because that's kind of.
I'll say this then. I'll say this then. Watch the stream. Facebook.com/thefanupstate, Twitter.com/thefanupstate. Go to YouTube, search and subscribe to the Fan Upstate, or go to Twitch and search and subscribe to The Rob Brown Show. We stream to all of those outlets. You, ladies and gentlemen, are quite welcome. We have conversations on the stream that we do not have on the air.
Thank you. I can't. That's my first attempt. It was not very good, but
we have conversations on the air that we are on the stream that we don't have on the air. Also, a ton of wrestling references, which, by the way, Fight Club with the Great One Lonzo is coming up here in about 16 minutes. Stick around as we break down all things MMA, boxing, and, of course, professional wrestling. That's all coming up soon.
Definitely leading off with some MMA.
You're welcome. So, we had a conversation off the air that ended up with Lonzo feeling like he had to go pull You're So Vain, I Bet You Think, which can we talk about on the list of dumb songs? Not in concept, but in title only. That's towards the top, right?
By the way, it's a diss track.
100%.
No. There's a specific person. I have to look it up, but it's a star. For some reason, I think it's Mick Jagger, but I could be wrong.
Let's talk about how dumb. Let's just point out and then move on how dumb it is that the opening lyric about a person is "You're so vain, I bet you think this song is about." It is! If they think that song is about them, they're right. You sang a whole song about how that song is about them and included the lyric, "You're so vain, I bet you think this song is about you." Yes, it is about them. They're correct. All right. I don't know why that has that, and isn't it ironic? No, Alanis, I love you. You are on my, you're on my list, right? Like the list. You're on the list. But nothing in that song is ironic. It's all coincidental.
Well, the second verse was about Warren Beatty. So
there you go.
It was a big deal at the time.
Back in my day. Warren Beatty. All right. We got to get some stuff in here. So you went in or out on a docu-series about Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
I might give that a watch because I know a guy who spent some quality time with him who's already name dropped a couple people today. So I don't want him to name drop, some guy trying to get him to buy Dallas tickets. It depends on who's producing it and how much say Jerry has in what's in the biopic. Because if you're writing your own narrative and a thing that's about you, I kind of get that to a degree.
I bet you think this docuseries is about you, don't you?
Well, because it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm in or out for that exact same reason, right? Because if JJ has anything to do with it, it's going to feature in the MCU. It'll be so outlandish. Right? The docuseries is a 10-episode docuseries on the Dallas Cowboys and team owner Jerry Jones about the 90s Dallas Cowboys, which of course it is. That's the only interesting Dallas Cowboys.
How many docuseries about sports figures have you watched? The only one that I believe I've watched all the way through was the Jordan one.
And let's be real.
There was nothing
because it was during COVID and there was not a damn thing else.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with it. And I knew that we'd be talking about it because there wasn't a lot else on. But I'm a Michael Jordan fan. I enjoyed that. I'm not a hater for Dallas, but I'm not a uber fan either. So how does this attract me as someone who is just casually watches documentaries? What is their selling point on this? Is it just Jerry Jones smiling? I mean, what is it?
I don't know. I do know Netflix is spending $50 million on it for the rights to it. Now, I'm not going to say a big sports doc guy, but I've watched a lot. I watched The Last Dance, obviously.
Did you watch the Tom Brady documentary series?
Bits and pieces. I actually did not watch the whole thing.
See, that's if you wouldn't watch who you believe is the greatest quarterback of all time, his documentary, why would you watch Jerry Jones, who got his team to a couple Super Bowls and they haven't been there since?
For the record, because Jerry Jones is, to me, I do think Tom Brady's the GOAT because Jerry Jones is incredibly more compelling than Tom Brady.
He is compelling. I mean, the fact that he fired Jimmy Johnson when they were on top of the world,
your ass, I want to hear that story.
Brought in a college coach who shouldn't have been able to win, and he did. And I don't even remember his name, and I know I should, and neither do you now either. That's how unimportant he was. He was at the time. and the fact that he built Jerry World and
Barry
like
Switzer. I knew
Barry
that.
Switzer, yeah, and the largest screen, and I mean,
By the way, they went straight from Landry to Jimmy Johnson. Isn't that ridiculous?
no, they got rid of Landry for Jimmy Johnson.
Yes, but they went
And that
straight
was-
from Landry to Johnson, and then they
that
went
was-
from Johnson to Switzer.
Yeah, that was a big controversy because Dallas fans could not believe they'd get rid of Landry.
Yeah.
But it worked out. Not in that first year, though, when Aikman didn't win a game, I think, or only won like one.
By the way, the Dallas Cowboys have been playing professional football since 1960. They're on their 9th head coach. Isn't that ridiculous?
It's not bad.
Including the failures, they're on their 9th head coach.
I think Pittsburgh's probably better than them.
Yeah, I think
but
they're on,
that's
like,
that's about
7
it.
or
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady's compelling as a football player, but that to me is pretty much it.
By the way, if the Brady thing actually told the truth about everything that happened behind the scenes, I'd watch that.
Yeah, but I feel that way about The Last Dance too. Like The Last Dance, at the end of the day, Michael Jordan had editorial control over a documentary about Michael Jordan. You and I both know you had to take that with the whole shaker assault, right? Because those were Mike's stories, the way Mike felt about them. Do you understand? I would have paid twice as much to watch a documentary about Michael Jordan in the 90s Bulls that Michael Jordan had no creative control
Well,
over.
just follow Scottie Pippen on Twitter.
True story. Scotty ain't held back since The Last Dance.
You don't know what's true and what's not, but it's interesting.
Yeah. Whether or not, so there have been some really good sports docs. To me, I think Hard Knocks has been above average. It's been good. Free Solo. Did you watch Free Solo? Wildly compelling. Now, granted, it's because
That's about soccer, right?
No, that is about free climbers.
Oh, okay.
The guys that climb
I thought it had
faces.
to do with Hope Solo. Never mind.
No, I'd watch that one too. Right?
Would you?
Yeah, I absolutely would. Mainly because while Hope Solo was an incredible soccer
She's
player,
crazy.
she's also an idiot.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Right?
So I
She's
mean,
an idiot.
That to me would probably be more interesting than the free climbing.
I am an
thing.
equal opportunity idiot caller. She's
Although,
an idiot.
Free climbing daredevils, some people would say that they're kind of idiots because why would you want to do that?
Yes.
So I mean, you know.
Yes. So I want to be in. I want to be in, but I gotta know how much of the control over this JJ has. Because if it's JJ telling the JJ story, I'm less interested. Right? Now, Mike caught some strays in The Last Dance. But at the end of the day, we watched it, A, because it was the GOAT to people my age, and B, because it was in the midst of COVID and there was nothing else on, right? That's what we had to talk about when that show was airing. So I don't know. I'm intrigued by it. $50 million for the JJ story. I mean, I'll probably watch it just because, I've hung out with JJ before. He's a Jack and Diet guy, by the way.
There he is.
There he is.
There he is.
He's a Jack and Diet guy. All right.
Did you sidle up to the bar? I believe that's properly and go. I need one for me and for my friend here, Jerry Jones.
No, other way around. JJ ordered one for me. Didn't ask me what I wanted. Just got Jack and Diets. In fact, we walked into the bar that was directly across the street from the hotel where the NFL staff stays during Senior Bowl day. It's called Veets. It's a great bar. Great bar. For those of you that, and I am pained to say that it is closed, but Smiley's Acoustic Cafe downtown, wonderful little music venue dive bar. It was very similar to Smiley's, but it was 2 rooms and about 4 times as big. And we walked in. It was me, Roman Harper, who's played for the Saints, his brother Brian, who's a friend of mine, Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, the then head coach of the Saints, the current GM of the Saints. It was Jerry Jones, the GM of the Cowboys, and a couple of scouts who were in that group. We walked into Veets. We walked into the main room. As soon as we did, like 4 dudes in Veets polos came over, got us, walked us into the second room, which has a private bar, and there's a wall behind the bar that's cut out so you can be in that room and see the band on the other side. There were 7 of us in a room, Lonzo, about as big as the upstairs of this building in Veets, because JJ just cut them a check for a few grand so that he and the 6 people with him could have that whole room in one bar to themselves.
And
it was incredible.
Here's proof of 1%ership. Rob never for a second thought, I don't belong here.
No, I was right in the elevator.
There you go.
JJ walked up to the bar.
I think me and a good portion of the audience listening right now would have been, oh my God, why am I here? I am going to do something stupid and it's going to be bad. And so you never thought that for a second.
I did belong there.
Okay.
100% I belong there.
Rob, in the moment guy, not an overthinker, just going with it and having a good time.
So
what we all want to be, by the way.
We walked into that room. This is 15 minutes after we were all sitting at the steakhouse in the Battle House Hotel, where JJ and Sean were ordering bottles of wine that cost more than I get in a paycheck, right? And giving it away just to show that they could do it to each other. We walk to that bar. We roll up into that bar. JJ goes up to the bar. We're all standing behind him. And I'm thinking JJ's just going to go, it's all on me. It's all on my tab. Just let them get whatever they want. And I'm thinking Rob Brown's about to start drinking some top shelf bourbon. I'm about to go to the bourbon that costs more than I do. Like bourbon I would sell my dignity for in order to drink. All right? JJ walks up to the bar.
How do you sell your dignity? I just don't.
I've come up with creative ways in the past.
Okay. All right.
I'm old now. I don't do it anymore. JJ walks up to the bar. I'm thinking he's about to be like, here's my Visa triple platinum double diamond meteorite card. Put it all on me. JJ rolls up to the bar and he goes, Jack and Coke. And the girl looks and she looks at the rest and JJ hits him with, oh, no. Everybody's drinking Jack and Coke. Jack and Diet. Everybody's drinking Jack and Diet. I'm like, all right. My dude was dropping $700+ on bottles of wine 15 minutes ago, and now he's just told us we're drinking Jack and Diets. Not a question. Not would you like a Jack? Nope. This is what you're having now. Great night. Great night. How about, real quick, before we get out of here and go to Fight Club, we had a texter write in earlier to the show. And he said, Rob, I'm a fellow Braves fan. Let me go find that text so I can read it specifically. He said, I'm a fellow Braves fan. Are you worried? Do you have any worries about the team coasting and clinching too early and losing this momentum in October? Yes. Yes, I do. Lonzo got on me earlier.
Rob, worry? No.
Lonzo got on me earlier about my annual Braves meltdown, which I did at the beginning of part of the season. And they deserved it, for the record.
And you also said you would never, you were going to stop talking about the Braves on the air.
Yeah, because every time I did, they lost.
Didn't they? Yeah.
And you'll notice that for the most part I did, and they've not done nothing but wins since then.
Stevie Wonder wrote a song about you.
I'm so frustrated with the Braves. I'm not frustrated with the Braves. They're 9-1 in their last 10.
I'm willing to bet, and I would actually probably put some money on this, that next year at the beginning of the season, when the Braves do what they've done the last couple seasons, that Rob will also have this.
My annual meltdown.
Yes, he will. That's why they call it annual, I suppose.
The Braves are 58-28. Now they do not have the best record in the National League. They have the best record in all of baseball. The Rays are now 57-32. The Braves are 58-28. They have won more and lost less games than the Tampa Bay Rays. What I find really interesting is the team that is right behind them. The Braves have been winning with offense. The Braves have been winning by hammering 6 dingers a game. Bats go cold. Bats go cold. Good pitching and good defense don't. The Miami freaking Marlins. Now, the Braves just swept the Marlins. The Marlins are 7-3 in their last 10. The 3 are the Braves. The 7 is everybody else they've played. But they're 51-37. The Miami Marlins, if they were not in the NL East, would be a division leader. They would be a 3-game leader in the Central. They'd be up 1 game in the NL West. And NL West, by the way, that includes the Dodgers. The Miami Marlins have a better record than the Dodgers. Now, there's a rash of injuries out there in LA. They would also have the best record in the AL Central, and they would be tied for the best record in the AL West. That's an AL West that includes not only the Texas Rangers, but the Houston Astros as well. They'd have the best record in that division. They won't go away. The thing is, the Marlins are doing it with pitching and fielding. They're doing it with Sandy Alcantara. Now, the Braves smoked Alcantara last time out. They chased him from the game last time out. They also did the same to Yuri Perez, a rookie with a sub-2 ERA. They chased him from the game, and they won that game against Miami. The good news is the Braves just beat the Marlins in a 3-game set. Swept the Marlins in a 3-game set. But it's July. It's early July. We haven't even hit the All-Star break. The bats are going to go cold. And my concern here is, because I love being a pessimist, it's what I do. The concern here is if the Braves go cold from the dish, as they have been known to do, for a 1 or 2 or 3 week stretch, and the Marlins keep winning games based on pitching and fielding, the Marlins can catch Atlanta. How crap would it feel before the All-Star break to have the best record in baseball and end up being a wild card team with potentially the second best record in baseball behind only the Marlins of Miami, and the Braves have to go on a road trip every series because of that? You've got to find pitching. I know they've spent money, and I know that they love going to get the agents. You've got to find closing pitching if you're the Braves because of the games Atlanta has lost. There's only been 28 of them. Of the games the Braves have lost, I would bet you probably 14 to 18 of those came solely because the Braves don't have back-end pitching. You got to go find that guy by trade deadline by August 1st. If the Braves do that, I become a lot less concerned. They got good defense. It's not great, but it's good. It's well above average. But they've got to be able to close out games. You can't rely on the bats to go build you 4, 5, 6 run leads every single time out and think you're going to come out ahead. You're not. You've got to go find back-end pitching. If they do that, I lose the concern. I feel real good.
Way to find some negativity with a team that's leading all the other teams.
It's me, RLB. That's what I do. Let's see. Hurricane Jeff says the Miami Marlins had the 4th best record in all of baseball and the 3rd best home record in all of baseball. Unfortunately, they happen to be in the same division as the Braves. Yeah, that's it. The Marlins would be leading the NL Central. The Marlins are 28-16 at home. The teams that have 28 wins at home are the Marlins, the Braves, the Rays, and that's it. That's a list. That's a whole list. The Marlins, the Braves, the Rays. They all have 28 wins at home. Nobody else does. The Marlins have 51 wins. That is better than the Phillies, Mets, and Nats in the East. It is better than the entire NL Central. It is better than the entire NL West. It is better than the entire AL Central. It is tied with one team in the West, and it is better than every team in the AL Beast except the Rays. They have a better record than the Orioles, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Red Sox. They are not going away. They are the reason the Braves have to find back-end pitching. Because you do not want to live in a world where the Marlins can chase you down because they do have back-end pitching and a good defense, and your bats go cold for 2 weeks. We'll see. Phil Houtt's going to come on the other side of the break. Skrilla said, Rob, please stop, bro, with the Braves hate. Dude, it is not Braves hate. I love the Braves. You know that, Skrilla. You've seen me. But I'm a realist. I'm an analyst and a realist. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday. And you know what that means. I didn't know you recorded Skrilla. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for Fight Club with the great one. We talk boxing, we talk MMA, we talk pro wrestling when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. None of y'all were going to tell me that I had Rashad's guest banner running for the last hour and a half. Thanks, guys.
That's my fault. I noticed it. I should have took it off, but
no, it's on me.
We were talking about Brittany, and I just forgot everything else because I'm just picked. There's got to be video, right?
of the slap heard around the world?
It was in a restaurant,
Yeah.
a fancy restaurant.
Oh, it's going to come.
I'm
Somebody
guessing someone's
It's the number
gonna
one
win.
NBA draft pick.
Not
maybe
that I
the
want
biggest
to
pop star of the last 20
not
years.
that I want to see that. I'm just saying, for proof that it happened, that will come out in court for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Stop popping your peas.
I'm Mark Ryan. Both sides with Mark Ryan this afternoon, 3 to 7 on The Fan, Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify.
Sorry, I had the booze ready. I just didn't. Talking about the booze and the hisses. Had them ready to play, but didn't have the fader up. So, missed opportunity.
Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
At Ingalls, we know your closest companions are the ones who are always there for you. The ones you trust to have your back, no matter what. Who make the hard times a little softer. And the good ones, somehow, a little better. That's what family is all about.
I read that completely wrong. No, I can't afford to have sod put in. I pride myself on the weeds in my yard. Just when you live back in the woods, it doesn't matter. Hey, come around here for a second and tell me what movie this is. I mean, I don't know, but that looks wicked.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, why is she on the train tracks and why did that's weird. They've replaced the puppies and kitties with stuff like that. I wonder if Threads will let me see only what I want.
It appears to be from a movie called Drag Me to Hell.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've actually seen that. I just don't remember that scene.
This might shock you. I have not.
Is that the one with Johnny Depp in it?
I've never seen it.
I think so.
I'll tell you. Leave the Braves closing pitching alone. I'll leave them alone when they stop letting me down. $380 water bill. Steven, are you like, is your water laced with gold flakes?
It's not Johnny Depp, but it did have Justin Long in it. So, it's got to be
right.
It's got to be a hit. Welcome into the Fight Club, where we transform the normally docile room into something fierce like NXT Underground. That's what we do here.
I loved it.
We're removing the ring ropes and just fighting as God intended. I don't know. All right, let us start with Logan Paul, because you got to start with the Paul brother when you do Fight Club, because this is something you might be interested in. I don't know. So we've talked about Zuckerberg versus Musk, which is still going on. And now that Threads is out there, it's going to make it even more interesting, because that's what started this whole thing in the first place. Well, Logan Paul has spoken out because he's been training to do some MMA. And you thought he couldn't wrestle. My dude can wrestle. Can he fight in the UFC? We don't know. But he is willing to fight for free in the UFC on the undercard of Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk. And he has called out Patty the Batty because he says in the offseason when he's not training, and this is true, you can see it, Patty gets really fat. So that would bring him up closer to his weight class. He would like to take on Patty the Batty and says he will fight for free for charity. You are already going to buy it. We've talked about it. Already going to buy it or watch it at least. Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk. Does this add to it?
I'm not going to lie. Logan's proficiency as a professional wrestler and the fact that he appears to have taken it very seriously kind of makes me more intrigued. I don't want to see him succeed. I'm still hoping he catches a Patty the Batty right to the chin and goes night-night.
But not just Patty the Batty, but Fatty Patty the Batty, where he just goes off and just eats like he does. If you see the pictures of Patty Pembleton when he's in shape to fight and when he's not, he could walk in the room, you would not recognize him. That's how much weight he puts on.
Listen, he's still an MMA fighter.
Oh, without a doubt, and a good one.
And a very good one. Even if he lets himself go in the off season, if he's scheduled for a fight and he knows because of the fact that, like it or not, Logan Paul is one of the most visible online celebrities of all time, that it's never going to stop being his legacy, right? Patty the Batty could go on to become the light heavyweight champion of the world in the UFC, and all anybody will ever talk about is the time that a YouTuber knocked him out. Doesn't matter how in shape Logan Paul gets. He's just going to be called a YouTuber if he knocks that guy out. I suspect.
Or has Logan Paul reached a point where if Patty got knocked out, he would have been knocked out by a professional wrestler?
He would never hear the end of it. It will become his legacy. So I suspect that while Patty the Batty might show up to the weigh-in fat and not in his best shape, if that weigh-in is more than like 3 to 5 weeks before the fight and he puts on a camp, he comes in, even if he's not going to kill Logan Paul, he comes in shape because you don't want to be the guy who loses to a YouTuber and then tries to be taken seriously as an MMA fighter.
So I don't think that Dana allows this unless he's taking Logan Paul's foray stint interest into UFC seriously.
Yeah, and let me be abundantly clear to the 3 or 4 I love MMA but professional wrestling is fake guys that are getting agitated right now. I am not saying your ability to be a pro wrestler means you will be an MMA success, Phil.
Unless you're Brock Lesnar,
right,
and not Phil. We've seen the two opposites.
But I will say that there are MMAers who have been good wrestlers. Brock, Bobby Lashley, and a handful of others. Right?
Dan
Shayna
Severn.
Baszler,
Dan Severn.
Absolutely, Dan Severn. There have been some very good ones. What I am saying is when Logan Paul showed up at WWE, my response was a fart into the microphone. No, I got no interest.
Not literally, because that would be frowned upon
Yes.
by many people,
But
including myself.
I considered it. Okay. But then dude not only got in tremendous shape to do it, but he took learning it very seriously, and it's translated. He's had some really entertaining stuff in WWE, both face and heel. So if he takes fighting an MMA bout as seriously as he took becoming a professional wrestler, he might actually be pretty good. He's athletic enough to do it. Now he's just got to learn the technique. I'm still going to say if that fight happens, I'm putting all the change down on Patty the Batty because he's an actual MMA fighter and a good one, right? This isn't Jake taking on some washed up, retired, has-been MMAers in a boxing match. This is Logan going after an MMA fighter who is currently an MMA fighter and a pretty good one at that. I'm going to take Patty in that fight, but I would watch it.
Yeah,
And that's the first time I've ever said I'll watch anything involving a Paul brother.
I would too, and I think it would be very, very interesting and entertaining. And I think at any second you could believe that possibly Logan Paul could win, but because of Pendleton's experience and how good he is, that he's going to win out. All right, let's stay in the two worlds at once because we like that. It's like multiverse. Shayna Baszler turns on Majin Rousey. So Ronda Rousey comes out as Majin Rousey, which was awesome. The M on her forehead, I really enjoyed that. She was wearing Saiyan armor, and then her own partner turns on her. And then Shayna Baszler talks about how no one likes it when Ronda talks. All the things that people are saying online, Shayna Baszler says, all that's well and good. It makes for a really good storyline. Ronda Rousey supposedly is on her way out. Her contract's almost up. The rumor out there now, though, is that because Amanda Nunes has retired, that Ronda is being coaxed to come back to fight in the UFC. Do you think that's true? And do you want to see that?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. Ronda Rousey was for a number of years my favorite athlete to watch. I was going out to bars on Ronda Rousey fight night because of how dominant she was. When Holly Holm kicked her head off her shoulders that night, Ronda Rousey's life changed. She was not that anymore. And I thought when she showed up in WWE, all right, this could be really good because you get to take that she was the dominant women's fighter on planet Earth into that ring and you make a character out of that. The problem is, and Shayna Baszler called her out on this when Ronda said something and Shayna was like, yeah, I'm as uninterested in you talking on the mic as everybody else is. And the problem is she's right. Ronda's got zero personality. There's none. She's a big fan and that's great. But being a great fan doesn't immediately mean you know how to do it. And she just has not been good. She had a decent match when she and who was it went up against Triple H and Steph.
The Rock?
Yes. Like that was okay, but that was you could pair a baked potato with The Rock and they would be a great tag team because it's The Rock, it's Dwayne. So I think it's time to go. I think the easy plan here is very simply that Ronda's going to give Shayna Baszler the rub on her way out. And as much as I loved Ronda Rousey in her prime, in her heyday, this just isn't her gig.
All right, I believe she will come back. I hope she doesn't, but I believe she will for one.
Nobody wants to see Ronda Rousey in UFC again.
Yeah,
who are you putting up against that makes it compelling? Some third tier up and comer maybe, but I'm not putting her in the ring with anything close to the best UFC has and expecting anything other than Ronda Rousey to get her ass beat again.
We have seen some old time UFC people be gone for years and come back, and it's not necessarily a novelty match, but you'll get some people who are fans of them coming back to watch it that may have went away when they went away. So I mean, I can see her doing it. I don't think the results are going to be any different. She lost her last couple of fights because she lost her eye.
Yep.
The eye of the tiger.
Yep.
They talk about it, but you can see it when a fighter loses that, they're good. But maybe
when
she
Holly Holm kicked her in the head, you saw it come out the back like Doctor Strange. It just vanished.
Maybe she got it back. I don't think it's but you know,
if she got it back, she'd already be back in MMA. If she got that back, she'd want to go back in the octagon. She doesn't. She will do it for one last big payday. And I wouldn't blame her. Look, if people are going to give her money to do it, go bananas. But I got nothing, man.
All right. NXT Underground, talked about it a little bit earlier. Do you believe, because I don't know that they do this more than once. I thought it was great. Looked a little dangerous, even more so dangerous than when they did it originally on Raw, I think it was. But Damon Kemp is not that interesting, especially on the microphone. Speaking of people who can't talk on a microphone, not that interesting, but putting him in that kind of match was pretty cool. But this is all setting up Gable Stevenson, right?
Yep. 100%. And by the way, So first off, I thought the UFC Underground segment was phenomenal. Give me that. Like, that's great, right? It's different. It's fun for a segment. When they did it for, what was it, SmackDown, when Shano was there, or Raw Underground, or whatever they called it, when Shano was there, it just got to be too much. On NXT, just that one segment, it was phenomenal. Hey, look, the two guys that were in the fight, like, all right, fun, like, it's a cool little storyline, but they didn't end that with me going, oh, I can't wait to see what these guys do. But watching Gable pick up a 280-pound dude and just toss him over his head like he was nothing, that was the rub. And I'm really intrigued to see what a gold medal amateur wrestler with that much strength is going to do.
All right, a couple more WWE things before we squeeze in some AEW, especially the Buddy movie that we're seeing. Creed brothers lose surprisingly in a loser leaves NXT match. And I proposed something to you the other day. Actually, I think it was yesterday, that I want to throw out there on the air today. I think the Creed brothers are the next members of the Alpha Academy.
Thank you. I'm here for it. I'm here. First off, I was a little bummed at the onset to see the end of Male Maximum Models. I thought it was fun. All right. And wrestling should have some fun stuff in it. But pairing up Maxine Dupree with Otis and Gable and ending that fight and turning him into a stable has been fun. It's been good, to the point that I'm not even mad they beat War Machine. Viking Raiders. Because they're one of my favorite tag teams, and I wish they would get the due that they have coming for them. That's another story for another time.
So if you have an academy, you need to have more students.
Yeah.
More visible students.
100%. Chase U works because of that, right? So give me the Creed brothers. You have them go on for a while. You have that inevitable split, because tell me Chad Gable versus those two with Otis being the wrecking ball wouldn't be a blast.
Oh, it absolutely would. And when I see them, and I thought this from before, but even more so in their last match, where they went all out and did some stuff that you didn't know they could do in the ring. I think what was the greatest tag team of all time? The ones with Kurt Angle. Who was that? That was Shelton Benjamin and
who was the other dude? Forgot the other dude.
The white dude.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name, but yeah. And that's the kind of vibes I get out of that. I want to see that happen. And finally,
you can tell the same story again if the story is told well enough.
You can.
100%.
You absolutely can. Roman Reigns goes on trial tomorrow night. What do you think's going to happen?
So first off, the question mark's going to be who oversees it. And man, I would pop so hard if Rikishi comes out.
All right, Rikishi just showed up on one of those where they're looking for stuff, the WWE thing on A&E, I think, where they go looking for memorabilia.
Yep.
He just showed up wearing a Yokozuna robe, and they were getting some other stuff. It's kind of weird that he just showed up Sunday. So it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up. It's his sons. 3 of his sons are in this thing.
Yeah. I think that's why, right? Like, but I think you could even do a further. Remember when
Joe says Charlie Haas was the other
yeah,
guy.
there you go.
Yeah.
I think when the tribal chief angle really started, when they rolled it from the big dog Roman Reigns to the tribal chief, remember they brought out like the entire Anoa'i family onto the stage to give him the lay and kind of have that unspoken passing of the lay ceremony. I think you bring all of them back out now that you've got Jimmy and Jay who can go to the family and go, hey, what this guy's been doing is wrong, and we want the elders to point that out. And if the elders side with the Usos, now we get unhinged, lost his grasp Roman Reigns. That's what we've been waiting for. That's the end of this story, is Jimmy and Jay wrecking everything under Roman and him being driven to the brink of insanity. I think that's how you do it. But I will tell you this, regardless of how, Lonzo, how many times have you heard me say the words long time booking? And all of a sudden, what should be a dumb send-off segment, I'm wildly ready for. I'm going to throw one twist that I really want to see.
Okay, because I have one. So I want to hear what yours is.
The Usos are represented in tribal court by Sami Zayn.
Oh, that would be interesting, because we know who's going to be representing Roman.
Yep.
And that would be the wise man. And I say this whole thing, they turn everything on Paul Heyman, because they've been gearing towards that already, that this is all Paul Heyman's fault, that he has fueled the ego of Roman Reigns. And before Paul got his hooks in. They were really a family.
Yep.
And they turn it all on him. And then suddenly you've got a babyface stable.
Oh, I think you're spot on right. I think that's the direction. And I think, again, you kind of finally drive Roman into he's got no control. He's got no direction. You know, the powers have left him, but you can have him turn a distrusting eye towards Paul, who, by the way, tries to take Solo with him, leaving Roman completely by himself, and now having to defend the belt against a horde of folks, including Cody Rhodes.
And if they do what they've been doing with the storyline, they will find something that happened like 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why Paul Heyman did everything he did to build them up and then bring them back down. Let's see. Trey says it would be epic if the elders disagreed and there was a civil war between the bloodline and then The Rock returns. Everyone wants The Rock. I don't think The Rock's
You don't
coming
need
back.
The Rock here.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. You know, I love Dwayne just like everybody else, but I don't need The Rock here because this story doesn't need to be focused on anybody other than the ones who have told it. And if you throw Dwayne in there, he immediately becomes the highlight and it overshadows what has been incredible work by the Usos, by Roman, by everybody else.
All right, let's throw this out there. The best heel, the best actor, the best singer, the best everything in professional wrestling is
L.A. Knight.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's MJF.
Oh, okay.
It's MJF without a doubt. How he can turn a character into something totally different, but still underneath. You know what he is underneath. What he's doing with Adam Cole is amazing, and it's a lot of fun to watch. By the way, I do believe that MJF lifted the weight that was on there. If you watch again, when Adam Cole got on there,
They cut in.
in. Someone is lifting the weights because Adam Cole could not do that.
315 pounds, and
It's
MJF ripped it.
It's also a joke on Adam Cole because people said that he was too flabby and he never got in the weight room. So the fact that they're in the gym, I think that's also kind of lashing out at the critics. But I love how this is working, how Adam Cole is a straight man in the situation, and MJF is just being very entertaining.
Dude, I could not agree with you.
And I hope they win the whole thing.
MJF doing wrestling promos and segments outside of a wrestling arena has been good. Go back to when he sang and danced with Jericho, something that I was ready to hate. And at the end of it, I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was
pretty funny.
It was really good.
It's pretty funny. Give me more. You can be theatrical and dumb and it still be good as long as you got somebody like MJF who can carry it. I will say this. I did not care for Tony Schiavone catching a stray. All right? I did not care for the stray at Tony, friend of the show. That's uncalled for. Adam Cole. Uncalled for.
I was okay with it. Tony probably wrote that himself.
Poor Tony. Out there catching strays. Let's take a break. We come back. We wrap this edition of the show up next. It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate.
It wouldn't surprise me if Tony had to convince Adam Cole to do that because the way he talked about how nice of a guy he is and everything. Adam Cole was probably like, nah, I probably don't want to do that.
He's so fat when he dry cleans his pants. The guy says we don't do curtains.
And you could absolutely picture MJF doing that in the gym, making fun of people. And
Sure.
Like, come on, go. And I also got to wonder in casting, all right, that dude's not fat enough. We need someone fatter. We need someone fatter.
That guy is apparently an indie wrestler.
Of course, that's what they use
Yeah.
for all that stuff.
So you know that's his gimmick. His gimmick is just be fat and strong. I gotta take this. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Hello.
Allen tells the Busting with the Boys podcast, Diggs was asked to go home after a minor disagreement with head coach Sean
Adding a Diggs quote, "I love him. That's my guy." The Dolphins landed their guy, or at least their top pick in April's draft, signing second-round quarterback Cam Smith Wednesday. And there will not be a suitable letdown.
I'm not surprised that he's really good, and hopefully he gets a push just from being on there. Puff is a good name too for that guy.
Puff. You got to be real self-confident to check in at 418, call yourself Puff, and be a wrestler. I love this guy already.
Thing is, though, if you break into the business as a fat guy, you've got to stay the fat guy. Because if you get thin, you know, you've lost your gimmick.
I don't know, if you got great charisma, you can probably get away with it, right?
There's a reason why Kevin Owens stays chunky, I think. And maybe just because he likes to eat. It could be that. Or maybe the padding helps with all the crazy stuff he does. I used to think he was just afraid because he always looked so afraid when he was on top of something. And now I think it was just an act, and he's really good at making people think he's afraid. Come on down to the boot bar.
Come on down to Boot Bar.
We got you some boots.
We got boots.
We got hats.
Hats.
We got socks.
Socks. Good wet cowboy socks.
Cowboy socks.
Not them regular city slicker socks.
Ain't no anklets here.
We got good socks. Oh, I love it.
They also have thermal underwear and beard oil. What?
Yeah, that was a glitch in the Matrix, eh?
Wasn't me.
From the Ingles Market Studio, the
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
from the Freelance CBS Sports Radio.
All right, time for abbreviated Twitter trending topics where I keep seeing trees falling out of the corner of my eye because they're trimming the tree out in front. And I keep thinking trees are falling, and it's freaking me out. The first thing that's trending is the MSG Sphere.
The MSG Sphere. So I saw this earlier today, and I like thought it was computer graphics. I don't know who built this thing, but it's a giant sphere that I guess is covered in like LED lights.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It is very dope looking. So they can project stuff on it. So I've seen it dressed up like the moon, like the sun. I've seen them do some light shows on it. It looks friggin' cool. I don't know what it's for. I don't know if it's like a building up, like a planetarium kind of setup. I don't know if it's like a sporting event thing that they're going to project games on. I don't know what it is, but it looks cool, man.
So if you were going to Vegas, you definitely would go over to
100%.
see that thing. Yeah.
I'd want to know like what it's going to be dressed up as when I do.
I saw one where it was a giant eyeball. I bet they don't do that very often because that will freak people out. And a video of there's a monorail or something that goes around there, and there's a picture of it, a video of it as the moon with a monorail, and it's in the background. It looks really cool.
It's wild. It's very, very. If you haven't seen it yet, go find it online. It is very cool.
All right, the next thing that's trending is Bob Marley.
Bob Marley and the Wailers, one of my favorite reggae albums of all time. Actually, I should just say one of my favorite albums of all time. Bob Marley gets a lot of play on vinyl in the Casa de Love.
They just dropped another tree. I just got to put my hand like this.
Yeah, they're going Arbor Day Assassins over there, and that tree is getting wrecked right now. Listen, I don't know why Bob Marley is trending right now. I'm assuming it's probably his birthday.
Biopic.
Okay, I'm all in. Bob Marley and the Wailers. And by the way, his son Ziggy has put out some really cool stuff too. It's worth a listen.
And Robbie Lawler is trending.
That sphere costs $2.3 billion.
Billion with a B?
With a B.
With a B.
Let's see. I just want to know, like, what the hell is it? What is it? It is okay. It's an arena. It's an arena. The MSG Sphere, according to the news outlet I'm looking at, has a price tag of $2.3 billion. Last night, they turned on the lights for the very first time. The MSG Sphere boasts an impressive 580,000 square feet and features a fully programmable LED screen, making it the highest resolution LED screen in the world. Additionally, it houses the most advanced concert audio system and includes atmospheric elements like wind and scent to enhance the overall. Here's all I'm saying. If you're ever going to go see a Pink Floyd show, that's the place to do it, right? Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the show. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for letting us have a job. We're back tomorrow for the Friday edition. You know it's going to get weird. We appreciate all of you letting us have a job. Don't drink and drive. We'll punch you in the face. For Alonzo, I'm Rob. See you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Yeah, dude, this thing is wild, man. Here, before we go, I'll pull it up on the stream for those of you that haven't seen it yet. Because Lonzo and I are here to just make your lives better. Skrill, I appreciate you, buddy. Holler at me when you get a break. Like I said, don't go out of your way or change your plans for it. But let me take the overlay off. So this is the sphere dressed up as an eyeball. This is real, by the way.
Yeah, that thing is huge. Think of that. That would be so creepy.
Yeah, this thing is real. Hang on. It's of course, as soon as I want to play it, it starts buffering. So this is it dressed like, oh, come on. You got to be kidding me. I just watched this video.
The smartest way to hire.
We're going abroad for the first time in years.
Does it have a Wikipedia page yet? Yes, it does. The Sphere at the Venetian Resort. The Sphere at the resort is a spherical music and entertainment arena. The project was announced by the Madison Square Garden Company in 2018, and construction was underway the following year. The 18,600, so it holds the same as it like an NBA arena. Was initially scheduled to open in 21, but construction suspended due to the project's supply chain caused by COVID.
So they couldn't get enough LEDs.
It is set to open September 29th, 2023, with U2 kicking off their U2 UV Achtung Baby live at Sphere Residency.
I don't know.
So there it is, dressed up and rotating as Planet Earth.
Dude,
this thing is dope.
Do you use a more modern band to do that? No, the thing is cool.
There it is, dressed up for the 4th of July. Let's see what else we got. All right, that one's wicked.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Wicked.
That's the first one I saw.
So that'd be great for venue. Look how small. You can see the cars down in the bottom corner. Look how big that thing is. There it is, advertising the Summer League. So I guess they're probably going to play some games in it. Why wouldn't they? Dressed up as a basketball. That's super legit. All right, that's badass. Look at that. As a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, if you are inebriated in Vegas and you walk out and you see that giant eyeball or that giant
lose your mind.
jack-o'-lantern. And look, it's moving.
Dude, I don't do drugs.
And
but
the
if I
fact
was
that it
gonna
looks
do
like
drugs-
there's the fires coming out of the
Yeah.
eyes, it's just really cool.
Oh, that's insanity. If I did drugs, that'd be where I'd do them. All right, guys, y'all are awesome. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Skrilla, holla at your boy. Everybody else, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely rest of your Thursday. Goodbye.